That's right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back. I don't know what to say, folks. I'm in a very, very, very good mood. I got people already saying, just keep playing that clip. Don't worry, it'll come out later. I got something packaged together for later. I got stuff all week, folks. I'm using this content. I'm telling you that right now. Somebody says Marcus Freeman is better looking than you, brother. Well, you're damn right he is. You're damn right. Chief, of course I got my happy shirt on. I'm in a good mood. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have a lot of messages. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of calls today. We got a lot to do. We have a lot to do, and we have a lot to talk about. So let's get in it. I might have trouble keeping up with these chats. I got to make sure anybody who donates, I don't lose. But this energy is fantastic. Welcome in, everybody. Please excuse my voice. It's been a little rough, just between the game and yelling about the game. And then I was recording stuff all day yesterday, writing stuff all day yesterday. It was amazing. This is exactly what you dream of. Just so happy for everybody. I'm just so happy for everybody. We needed this. So let's get into this so that we could get to the people, get to the chats, see how you guys are feeling after this game. What a win. What a win. And I see some interesting angles in the chat. And they're things that I've thought about. And we're going to go over them. On the good side, on the bad side, all of that. All of that, okay? We're going to go over it. There's a lot. So obviously on YouTube, if you're here, hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate that as well. Notifications on that way. You'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish, or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishindy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You could get me except for these shows because they're too long. But all of the regular form content, different story. Different story. Oh, good morning, everybody. We'll do a roll call. We got phone numbers popping up already. Everybody's interested. God, we needed this energy boost. We just did. So here's where we're going to start. We're going to start with this. I feel like this was the official beginning of the Freeman era. Like, maybe I'm wrong. It just felt in that building like a switch was flipped. The mindset was turned on. I don't know what to describe it, but it's like I physically felt it. I physically felt it in that building. I see Kent. Kent's here giving us credit for the win, but he's also, I don't know if he's trolling or not. Go Tommy. Tommy's the man, all that. Good plan, and they executed it well. I've been asked about this since the game. Yeah, they played really good. That doesn't mean the quarterback position problems are solved. Like, just because you did this doesn't mean you're not allowed to ask questions about quarterback development in Tommy. I'm just saying. I mean, obviously, everybody's in a better mood right now to talk about anything. You could still talk about the quarterback situation if you want. Just because they ran the ball for 263 yards doesn't mean that Tommy's quarterback stuff is all perfect. It's perfectly fair to still have some of those issues. It's also perfectly fair to still worry about if we're going to play good again, or are we going to have another drop off, or that kind of thing. Those kind of questions are fair. But my word, embrace this. Enjoy this. It's legitimately the best win we've had in 25 or 30 years. Name me a better win in the last 25 or 30 years Notre Dame's had. Name one. I've spent ever since the game thinking about it, and I don't think I could come up with one. I don't. In terms of how well we played the whole game, final score, the opponent's rank, and their record, I can't think of a better game in 25, 30 years. I just can't. Chiefs saying that wasn't better than the 2020 win, John. I think it is. That one, maybe the dynamics were different because you needed it to stay in the playoff and all that in the regular season. But we didn't dominate them in 2020. That was not domination, and it was against their backup quarterback. It's just a little different to me. The domination part of this is the key. The win is the win. The domination part is the most interesting part here to me. That's different. That signifies something different. And that's why I say the domination part of this. Notre Dame already has trouble beating top 5 teams my whole life. We all know that. To get one and dominate them, that's a different ball game. That is a different ball game. I don't care if you think Clemson was overrated and they were waiting for a loss, had this coming, like that kind of thing. I've seen that a lot. Fine. That could all be true. And they have issues. I'm not acting like Clemson was running on full cylinders, playing great. But what you do then is take advantage of it. And Notre Dame never does that. And we finally did it. So I understand that, Clemson may have been inflated. That's their problem. I'm not letting you bring me down on that. Have that stupid committee not put them forth then if they're not impressed. But they did, and they were undefeated. Dabo's a proven championship level coach. And Marcus Freeman, and they out-coached him and out-executed him all night. All night. It was impressive, okay? And then regarding, we're going to get to the roll call, people who donated calls. I want to give you guys time. I'm going to have programming all week. This changes things. There's a lot of angles that open up now that I want to explore, but it wasn't appropriate to explore them. Now we're in a zone where we can. So there's a lot that opened up for us. There's a lot of content avenues that opened up, all right? Here's the other thing. I've seen people put in the chat. All right, we got this win and I feel good about it, but I don't know if I could trust the rest of the year, if we're going to be able to maintain that or all that. Listen, to me, this was bigger than this year. Like they could still go 9-3 and they're still screwed. Like you're still not getting in a major bowl game or any of that. Even if you run the table the rest of the way and beat USC, that's out. But what I'm saying is, like, yeah, they could revert a little bit or not come out as sharp or whatever. But the point of all this was Freeman factor proof. That's what I've decided why this was so important to so many people. Freeman factor proof is what we were looking for all year. Freeman factor proof. Meaning, what do I always say? Oh, Freeman factor. When I wanted him hired, Freeman factor. That's what I said. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is a guy who just knows how to get more out of his group and get them to play together and all play their best in the biggest moment when nobody's expecting it. Get them to play above their heads, above the talent, above the performance we think we're going to get. That's that it factor that I say, the Freeman factor I felt like he had. It came out. That was this. Oh, John, what's the Freeman factor? I'm going to tell you guys. The Freeman factor is a little bit different for everybody. The feeling you had when you realized Morrison was running that back to the house. That's the Freeman factor. That feeling, whether you were in the building or whether you're watching on TV or the radio. Whatever that feeling is you had when you knew he was returning that for a pick six, that's the Freeman factor. That hope that there's something above where we've been. That hope that we could be the team to look good on a Saturday night, make somebody else look stupid for once. Make another fan base miserable for once. Have them get trolled all day for once. It feels good. But this was proof that Freeman factor thing is real. They got way more out of this group than I had them winning. I had us winning in the USA Today Fighting Irish Wire picks. I did. But close. Close. Because I didn't quite buy fully into where Clemson is either. But nothing like this. Nothing like this. All right? This was what I was looking for. That little, you guys, I see you talking about Pigskin Pete. And I did see his State of the Fan address he put out yesterday morning. If you don't know Pigskin, he does what I do, but from the Clemson side on YouTube. I'm going to tell you this, though. Right after that game, yeah, obviously I have no service, so forget that. People, I'm sorry. Rudigers, I was supposed to meet up with them, find Rudy, the actual Rudy. That never happened. Tailgate got canceled. Tree blocked the road, and the Airbnb I was staying at, we had to move a tree to get there. Like, tailgate canceled. Then I get to campus, and then I have no service, and then forget it. I can't meet up with anybody. It's just rough. But what I'll say is, when I finally got out and got going to where away from campus to where I started getting messages again, the first one I got was from Pigskin Pete. And he just said, enjoy the win. Big night for you. Happy for you. And I'm going to tell you, that's classy. That's classy. I don't think I have that in me if it would have been the other way. So I got to give Pigskin Pete total credit. He reached out to me, said, enjoy this. You guys deserve it. And he was very nice about it. So I give him credit for that. All right. Roll call. People who donated. And then I want to hear what you guys think. Keep in mind, let me look at the call log. All right. We have a lot of calls today. Everybody's just going to have to understand the fairest way to do this is everybody's only going to be able to get a few minutes because I got to move through and let people get on. Okay. So everybody understand Pigskin Pete's a good guy. He's a close friend. Non-football, just a good guy, like a good friend. All right. Football, YouTube aside, he's a good guy. Good family. All right. Let's go here. Let's see. I'm telling you, we got new people in here. Everybody's in here. Matt Miller. Matt Miller's always here. John Tague, Dr. John, $10 holler. Oh, man, how sweet it is. Savor the flavor. Then make Navy the gravy. Look at you rhyming in the morning, Dr. John. Under par for you today, bud. Under par. $5 holler, Paul Conley. Best win since NDB, Florida State 93. Name one better. Name one better. Even Kelly's most impressive win, 2012 Oklahoma, was not this. It was not this. And that is his most impressive win by far. And I will credit him, that was on the road, but nothing else came close to that. And the domination part, again, winning is winning. Domination's different. That's the key, you guys. Domination's different. It signals dominating a team that has the capability to be as good as Clemson does. That tells you what room there is on the high end of this. That's what this all comes down to. Dominating them the way they did shows you that upward mobility Freeman could bring to this program. Kelly never did. He never did. Good for him. He beat Alabama like LSU. Good for you, but he didn't do any of that here. That's the point. Good for you. You're doing it there. I care about here because I don't care about LSU. So good for him that he did that. He wasn't ever going to do it here, and nothing ever came close to it. 11 years we waited for Kelly to do something like this, and it never happened, and he left. Marcus Freeman loses to Marshall, and Stanford has everybody calling him a fraud, and the next thing you know, they do this and get a impressive, dominating win. Great freaking job. Best game 25, 30 years. I'm serious. Paul Conley, Huffer Billy Paul, I don't know where he is. He used to like to be in here, except for on this one. Not in the mood. Deborah Thomas, hello. Hugh Town. Mark Holzop, good to see you, Mark. Bruce, the format, I owe you a phone call. I do. Listen, that's the other thing. There's a lot of people, that have called or texted me or emailed me since the game. I apologize. I've not been able to get back to anybody. We got in the car from South Bend yesterday morning from the Airbnb, drove right home. I went in the basement, recorded the postgame show, been writing articles for Irish Wire and recording other content about this game all last night. I'll get back to everybody when I can. I had to bang this content out while I could. Matt Miller, drunk. Good to see you here, drunk. I can't get too excited. I could still see them losing to Navy or Boston College. Drunk, here's the answer to that. That may happen. It's not going to happen, but that may happen. I needed proof that there was Freeman factorness on the upward end of what's possible here. And I got that. It ain't about this year. It's kind of messed up. But my big takeaway from that game wasn't, oh my God, this year's awesome. No, because you already screwed yourself this year. That wasn't the point of this, was that this year's awesome because we did this. That ain't it. That ain't it at all. It's about the bigger picture of what this represents. The bigger picture. Chris, $5. What a great win. Bought a $20 bench cushion for the game. Only sat on it for 7 minutes, eating a pretzel. I'm telling you, the place was rocking. As much crap as we take, it was fun in there. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a great environment. Get through a couple more of these callers. Hang tight. I just do not want to miss anybody who donated money in the chat. I got to get caught up with that from the beginning, and we'll get it rolling. Johnny S., I dropped in on Pigskin Saturday night. You might need to console him. I've been in touch. I mean, it is what it is. He knows they have some issues there they got to figure out, and it's not like Notre Dame's perfect. But on this night, my life was perfect. That's the best way I know how to put it. Chris Morgan, $10 holler on a Monday. Good morning. Thank you. I was still on the field celebrating with friends during the post-game press conference, and I watched it when I got home. When was the last time you could hear the fans from the field during the postgame? I'm just telling you guys. It was a magical bonding experience. If you were lucky enough to be there, it literally just felt like it was a huge bonding experience between all of our scar tissue as fans. And then it all coming to a head with Marcus and everybody just being so happy for everybody, for him, for us, for the players who have been taking all this heat this year, all of it. Just a perfect night, other than the wind. Matt Radke, best game I've ever been to. Glad to have your son be there. You're darn right. You don't know when you're going to get another one of those. And if you're us, it's once every 30 years, right? Embrace it. It's once every 30 years. Christopher, $2 holler. My voice is still toast. The fireball shots don't out. My voice is coming back a little. Oh, man. Look at this. John, you could put the Rogaine down at least till Thursday. I do. I think half my hairline grew back in over the weekend after that game. Greg, $9.99 holler on the 480. You're going to do that, then I'll put you up. Can't trust Drew. Like, that's fine. I'm telling you guys. Can't trust Drew. We might lose another game this year. I'm telling you guys, it isn't about this year to me. That win, it's not. This year has so many weird stuff that's off the rails and already done and buried that killed us. That was not what this was about, was whatever else happens this year. It just isn't. And I'm sure I'm going to change that when we get to USC week and then say how critically important that is and all that. I understand I'm going to do that. But I genuinely mean this was confirmation that there's top end of that Freeman factor, it factor that we all loved and was one of the main reasons I wanted the guy hired because I thought he had. It's beautiful. Okay, almost through the chats here, and then we'll get to your calls. I'm so offended. $199. Where was your seat? Opposite the tunnel, kind of under the jumbo, beginning in the upper level. So above everything, so I could see the depth. But yeah, opposite end zone of the tunnel. Oh, let's see. Wow. Man, some people just are never going to be happy. Worried about what's going to happen to Navy. Formats. Bruce says 2012 Notre Dame at 8 Oklahoma on a Saturday night, 30-13. Mark May said Notre Dame wouldn't get off the bus. Mark May said a lot of things back then. Chris Totten, $5 holler. Crap, sorry I'm late. Good morning, Irish Nation. Fantastic win. Pine's still a dumpster fire. If you think that, then it's even more impressive what they did. They limited needing him to win the game. They limited needing him to win the game because we were running the ball so well and they couldn't stop it. It was beautiful. Where does this compare with Kelly's best wins? Better. 2012 at Oklahoma was the best win. This one was more dominant and better. And if I recall, I think that Oklahoma team maybe even had a loss. I don't even think they were undefeated. Or maybe we had a loss. Somebody remind me. But yeah, this was more complete and definitive and made a statement more than anything Brian Kelly ever did at Notre Dame and was ever going to do. So that is where you see what people mean by the Freeman factor. That's it. That's what it was. That's the Freeman factor essence. Getting more out of the group than everybody thinks is possible in the most important moments and the most important times. That's exactly what happened Saturday night. That's exactly what happened Saturday night. And it's just absolutely beautiful. Mike, $4.99. I don't always donate, but when you're this happy, it feels like a requirement. 361 on the line. I got you. 480-361. You donated. You'll be the first two up. It's just, oh man, it's just so fun. Mike says Clemson's still the classiest fan base I encountered. I'm telling you, I had no issues with them all weekend. Everybody was polite. Everybody was nice. I'm going to tell you this. Then we'll get to the calls. After the game, we were leaving, and we're in the parking lot. Some Clemson guy comes up, college kid, young, looked 19, 20, T-shirt, cold, didn't know it was going to be that cold. He looked miserable. They just got killed. And he goes, he bumped into me. And he was all upset and confused. And he goes, hey, my buddies are at O'Rourke's. I'm completely lost. I have no service. Can you direct me to where O'Rourke's is so I can connect with my people? I said, yeah, it's over at that intersection. Walk that way. And this Clemson guy looked me in the eye, put his hand out, shook my hand and goes, congratulations on the win. Enjoy your night. Thanks for the help. Shook my hand and walked away. Like, that was my experience. I didn't see any problems with any of them and us the whole night or weekend. $4.99 V1 rotate V2 might need a second phone line. Just like Kent OSU back on the knees for Ed D. Make our win look better. Yeah, Kent, I guess that's what they're going to say, Kent. They're going to say that you're pumping us up there just to make Ohio State's schedule look a little better. Is that it? Brandon Fry, best environment I've experienced inside ND Stadium, without a doubt. It was a good night. And it's like one of our big things is like, well, what's the crowd going to do? What's the crowd going to be like? And one of my pregame notes was, you got to the team has to find a reason to get us all engaged. You block a punt, run it in for a touchdown. That is a heck of a way to get us engaged. From then on, it was off. That was all it took, and it was off. Nature boy, go Dogs. That's a big win for you guys, too. Thanks for the $5 holler, Nate. Oh, Jaded. Good to see you, Jaded. I'm not trying to breeze through these too fast, you guys. There's a lot of them, and I want to get us going on the calls. $5. Bruce, I owe you a phone call. Sorry. The Irish did Ben and I proud Saturday night. He said, tell you hi when I told him you were there. I appreciate it, man. Got another young domer on our hands. My brother and his wife were there. We did the gender reveal in front of Touchdown Jesus Friday. It's a boy. Like, it was just a good weekend for the Kennedys, all right? Oh, man. There you go. Winning is winning. Domination is different. I'm just telling you, it hits different. All right, we're going to get caught up on the chats. Leo, $9.99 a holler. I appreciate that crazy idea. Take ND's deal with the ACC football and rotate it with the other conferences every 6-7 years. If you think about it, ND already kind of had that with the Big Ten. Yeah, but too much money involved, Leo. You got to line it up one way and fill their coffers. Oh, I really appreciate the donations. All right. I think I'm caught up on the chats. We're going to get to the calls. Keep in mind, all right, we have a lot of calls. So, everybody, I know you're used to having your time. We're going to get to main bullet points, main takeaways, and then we're going to go from there. All right. There he is. You want to talk about a guy working hard on Notre Dame content? I know Nick was up till about 2, 3, 4 in the morning, Saturday night into Sunday, working on the Irish Wire stuff. There's just too many good angles, too much to cover, too much stuff that just opened up, right? That you could discuss now that wasn't fair before. Jason's trolling us. Jason's got to be. Not a Freeman fan at all. I think he's awful. That's fine. You could think he's awful, but Brian Kelly could never dream of getting a Notre Dame team to perform this way. Not even his better ones, let alone some of his worst ones. I got to tell you guys this. We're going to the phones. Do you realize this? Think about it this way. Marcus Freeman got this performance out of this group, right? This is going to be the worst roster Marcus Freeman has at Notre Dame. It is. He got this performance out of this group. It's going to be by far the least amount of talent he has. So that's what I look at. All right. That's what I look at. I mean, there really is Jason's trolling just to get people worked up today. I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm in a good mood, so it's all good. But how could you be like, no way, dude, Brian Kelly rules? Like, on the high end of what Kelly did, nothing came close to this. On the high end, not the low end. On the high end, Brian Kelly's best moments at Notre Dame don't get close to this. Good for him, what he does at LSU. Whatever, fine. I like their quarterback. All that, great. What was never going to do it here, prove that. Whatever. This was what you needed to see. Notre Dame needs a coach that can get them to play their best in some big moments. Get more out of the collective group than what you think they should get. All of that. You saw it. All of that. And you saw it Saturday night, all night. Those Clemson people never cheered all night. All night. After the opening kick, pretty much nothing. There was nothing to cheer for. They couldn't get anything going. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. It was beautiful. All right, phone calls. We're going to go 480-361. See if I don't lose my voice. 480. Good morning and let's go.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, John?
I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood.
Man, me too, man. Me too, man. I haven't slept. I've barely slept this weekend, man. I have not, and we're around the same age, man, and I've just never seen a game that dominant since I've been a Notre Dame fan. Like, I've always heard about the Holtz days of the 9-3 game against Florida State, which I watched it, and the Miami game and, other games like that during that era. But, man, to be able to honestly say now that I've actually been able to experience a dominant game by Notre Dame, I mean, not just a half of a quarter or a half, like literally the entire game. Like, it's like, man, when I sat there and watched the game, I'm like, man, something is different about this game. Last week, I just didn't feel nervous. I don't know what it was, man. I didn't feel nervous. I just kind of had this optimism, and I wasn't afraid. I wasn't nervous. I'm like, man, something about this is just different.
Yeah.
And, man, I am just so impressed, man. I'm so impressed with the way this team has – the trajectory this team has gone on the last few weeks, and just the way Freeman has literally just – it's like, man, night and day, man. And I understand – yeah, we lost to Marsh, we lost to Stanford, and I'm not making excuses for those losses. Those were horrible, man. But like you just said, he took a roster literally that barely had any transfers except for special teams and a couple of defensive guys, not the important pieces of a team, and beat a quality. I don't care what nobody wants to say. They on ESPN and others trying to downplay and all that. Look, man, this is a top 4 team that was supposed to be in the playoff and very well could still be in the playoff. Okay? So, I mean, it is what it is, man. We beat a quality top 5 team. And they out-coached Dabo, and Dabo said it best. It was an ass kicking.
Yep.
And it started with him first.
And
it was an ass kicking from the jump street.
Dude, the fact that it was pretty much all game and in all 3 phases is the best part. I mean, it was just complete. It was just a total high-level game. The type that we never see Notre Dame play in these moments. You and I, same age range. We had to be really, really young when Notre Dame was playing this competent against good teams. I don't remember it. Even
I don't remember, man.
Me neither.
My parents, they remember the era of Holt, and my dad goes back to, Parsegian and all those days, man. Like, he saw when Notre Dame was in dominance and beat teams like Alabama and others when he was my age and what have you. But I've never experienced that. And even like you said, I just looked up the Oklahoma game in 2012. That team went on to be 10-3. So, I mean, this is a better quality win, and it's a more dominant win. I cannot think of a time that Notre Dame in the last 20-some years I've watched football that they have dominated a team like this. And that 2020 game, I'm sorry, it doesn't surmount this one because they had all types of starters that were out. And we played against their backup, which is now the starter. Okay? This time, Dabo put in both quarterbacks, and we still dominate.
Yeah. It was very, man, I was sitting there just so happy personally, like for Marcus, for all of us. It was just kind of like confirmation that little bit of extra that we all felt Marcus could provide with his personality or the relationships or whatever the vibe is. And we were waiting for it. It came out. That's what we saw. That little it factor, getting more out of the group than we think is possible. Like, we made the game-changing plays against a great team for once. We made them. We made the big game-changing turnover. Right. We made the pick 6.
Right.
We dictated the game and said, we're going to run it on you and you ain't going to stop us. And they didn't. We did that. We never do that.
Right.
We finally did it.
Never do that.
Just to know that it's possible is what we all needed. And we got it, man. And we got it. And
got it, man.
This win is going to sustain us. Man.
This comes with, man, let me tell you something. I've been on Twitter looking at some of these recruits that were there. Man, they are ecstatic about Notre Dame, man. Like, they are ecstatic about what Freeman is doing, the aura around the program. I'm telling you, man, this was a big win, not only for the fan base, for the alumni, for the university, but it was a big win for recruiting, man. We won. I'm gonna tell you something. We had recruits there that Clemson wants too. Okay, we're battling Clemson for recruits.
Yep.
And they saw how we flat out dominated them from start to finish. And man, I'm telling you, we won big in recruiting on Saturday night, man. So I'm excited, man. I didn't want to be on here long, but I just want to say, man, I'm excited about where this program is going. I'm thankful that, man, we got, a guy that didn't just fold up and just, he even said, man, like when we lost to Marshall, he said he didn't have any answers. He didn't have any answers after that. But he said after we lost to Stanford, he had some answers. He had some questions. He answered some questions that he needed to answer. And I'm telling you, man, I'm excited about what's getting ready to happen. I really feel like we're getting ready to land some major recruits out of this.
Hey, listen, man, when you crank up 60-something recruits on a weekend, that's high risk, high reward. You want it to be for a big game.
Right.
There is risk in that. If you lay a fat egg with 50, 60 really good players and their families in town, and then the stadium experience is lame because we're losing early, and then it's like, that's a rough dynamic. They hit it out of the park this weekend. They absolutely hit it out of the park. When I got to my seat pregame, that every inch of the edge of the field was covered with recruits. Every inch of this perimeter of that field, there was recruits and their people standing. It was a big operation, and I love it. I love it.
Wow. Oh man, man, you got me tough, man. Just hearing that.
I'm telling you, man.
That's what's been missing, man. That's what's been missing in this program, man. It's that, and then I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you where I'm gonna give Tommy Grease a little credit, man, because at that mark when we were at 28 to 7, and man, he threw that touchdown to Mary. He could have been conservative and just try to run down the clock.
Yep.
Yep. Man, when he hit, it was like, that is what we have been missing in the offense, where it's like, keep putting the dagger in it, man. Like, we have always been that conservative. Like, we've been up.
We
just like
never a killer instinct.
Like,
yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you, man. Like, if we could do, like you just said, this is Freeman's worst roster he'll have at Notre Dame.
By far.
This is the worst roster that he will have. And we want to talk about Brian Kelly's stuff. We took Brian Kelly's recruits and beat a top 4 quality team at home, and not just beat them. We beat the ass, man. We gave them an ass kicking from start to, like, dude, with a backup quarterback with a noodle arm and limited situations with his size compared to most average D1 quarterbacks, and still beat the crap, man. It's like our O-line looked at them and said, yeah, we run it on you. We run it on you every freaking time, and they couldn't stop it. This is a front 7 that's all going to the NFL. First, second round guys. And we just beat the crap out of them all night, man. Like, if that doesn't tell you the physicality and toughness and the resilience of this program, I don't know what is, man. I mean, I'm just excited, man, and I'm excited for our fan base. We needed this win.
Yep,
everybody did. Statement win. I feel like we got it.
Everybody did. Everybody did for a lot of reasons. It felt like the coronation, like the beginning of the Freeman era. Like, it just felt like it was starting. We all needed this. Marcus needed this. The fan base needed it. The players needed it. The recruiting class needs it. Like, to have confidence. It was just one of them nights we needed that we never get. And it's just nice that we had it.
Absolutely, man.
So I'm thrilled, and I've been flying high. That we're never on this end of these kind of ball games. Like, we are never on this end. We're always on the other end of this exact ball game. We are always on the other end.
We're always on the end of, we just trying to keep it close. We're just trying to make sure that it's not a blowout.
Yep.
Like,
now we blew somebody out.
Like, man, I'll tell you, man, I had friends call me, text me like, man, y'all finally got a win. You know, now y'all not overrated anymore and stuff like that. You know, it's like, just playing with me, but they were congratulating me,
man,
and everything. And I was like, man, you know,
we needed this. We just all needed this, good. Man.
We needed it, man.
Yeah, and so this gives me the kind of it backs me up on my feeling that Marcus has that it factor, can get more out of the group. Like, this kind of confirmed that. Now you pair it up with reeling in some more talent and then figuring out some of the coaching stuff. The arrow is pointing up. So I really appreciate the call.
I'm gonna say one more thing.
Yep, go ahead.
Hey, John, I'm gonna just say one slight thing. Remember when we played them in 2015? That was the trajectory turn for Clemson.
Yep.
They began to start becoming that dominant factor, and they won a title the next year, I believe, because that was 2015. We had that hurricane game, whatever. So I feel like this game, regardless of what's happened this season, this could very well be the turning factor for Notre Dame, man, to get to that dominance that we've all been longing for and get back to the title, man. So
there you go. Well, man, enjoy it. I know this means a lot to everybody who's in this show, because, I mean, you got to be a diehard to tune into this every week the way we all do. I'm just happy for all of our group here. Like, it means a lot, and it's personal, and it's about family, and it's just really deep stuff. And we all needed this. Like, our Irish hearts got filled back up. Like, I don't know. We needed it.
Absolutely, man.
We needed it.
Man.
But thanks for the call, man, and the donation. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to get some other folks on. Have a good week.
You too, man.
Take care. Oh, man, my voice isn't going to last this week. There's too much going on. 361, let's have a little fun.
Hey, what's up, John? How are you?
Happy. That's how I am. Happy. And that is rare when we're talking about Notre Dame. I'm happy. How are you?
I'm good. I had a wild Saturday night. I lost my voice a little bit too because I actually went to a concert and didn't see the game live. Had to turn off every potential notification. If you could contact me via mail, I was blocking my address.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to know anything about it so I could watch it live. And it's one of those. It's one of my favorite bands. They only come through once a year. I had to go see them and watch the game Sunday morning. But yeah, after the fact, what a way to start your Sunday for me. Holy smokes! It's funny. I said I talked to numerous people, Twitter, my dad, whoever. I said Notre Dame has to have those game-changing plays. Like we seem to be able to block a punt. We need a punt block. We need to get to DJU, sack him a few times, make him uncomfortable, maybe get a pick. We did all of that, and we still didn't need to do that to win. That's what's the wildest thing to me. We could have just ran the ball, 20 more times instead of getting all those plays, and we would have done it and won the game anyway.
Yeah, it was just dominant. Like, there's no other way to put it. It was dominant. We always talk about, like, how's Notre Dame going to show up in a big game and all that? They were the ones that didn't show up ready for a big game. It was the opposite of what we are used to in every single of our biggest games is what it was. And it just felt so odd to be on the other side of it. It was beautiful. Not used to it.
The defense was swarming. The missed tackles are a thing of or at least for that game, were a thing of the past. We were forcing DJU to look like Drew Pine, just constant checkdowns, flat, nothing further than 5 yards downfield. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it. At the same time, though, I hate to go down this route. We're all happy, okay, guys? I get it. It's Monday. We're thrilled. If we had a quarterback, and like your previous caller, that was the turning point for Clemson. Yeah, Clemson also landed Deshaun Watson in that time. So let's put that in perspective just a little bit. How many batted balls is Drew Pine going to have? He's still missing obvious reads. I hate to say it. I had somebody come at me. Well, Drew Pine's 6-1 as a starter. I'm like, yeah, we're 6-1 almost in spite of him. And the one is because of him. So I hate to go down that road, but I still want to think about what's the next step for this team. And if you look back at the Stanford game, Estime and Diggs combined for like 6.7 yards a carry and 117 yards. The problem is they only touched the ball 17 times total. They both touched the ball 17 times, and look what happened. That needs to be our offense. Just accept it and embrace it and attack the portal, because that's our only option at QB next year. I don't know what Buckner is, and I hope he is what we want him to be. But the quarterback is such an obvious hindrance. We should be, a team that's taking the next step. But if that's our quarterback situation, I just don't see it. But our defense showed up. The running game showed up. O-line U showed up, John. O-line U was here today.
Yep.
Or Saturday.
Yep. They finally earned it. And in my post-game show, I gave them full credit, and I said, I give them a hard time because they're only O-line U, push around nobodies. And so I gave them a lot of credit, and they deserved it. Being able to run the ball the way we did, fairly straightforward, literally north-south all game, allowed Notre Dame to dictate the entire ball game. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty. Like, the roadmap in your mind entering the game of like, how as a Notre Dame fan, what does Notre Dame have to do to win? They did it all, and they did it all well. And I'm not used to it, and I'm just glad it's real life and not make believe.
Yeah, and there was that last touchdown to Mayer. That was beautiful. And that's what the running game should allow you to do more consistently. The problem is, even when you do it well, like the seam route, Mayer was wide open. He throws it over the wrong shoulder, and Mayer would have had to make a ridiculous Odell Beckham style catch. I know the rest of our season, we got USC left. I'm just thinking big picture. I know you like to think that way, and we seem to know what our defense is going to be every week. We know what our special teams is going to be every week. We see the running game. We just almost have to limit what the quarterback does, because that can't be a way to lose a game. But next year, bring all that same energy with the special teams, O-line, running backs, defense, and we gotta get someone who can make those throws, because everything else is lined up for those throws to be there.
But here's the thing, man. I think Freeman's well aware of this, and I think this is going to be the worst situation like that we're in. And so, like you said, I don't want to be negative and talk about, still our quarterback. I look at it as a positive. Like you do, saying we're limited at quarterback and we still found a way to somehow blow out this team. That is a huge positive sign, because you did it with those limitations. And so Freeman sees it. And the best part of this whole thing is this is the worst physical roster Freeman's going to have. That is the best part of all this. He did this with the worst roster he's going to have talent-wise at Notre Dame. That is the most impressive part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the one thing that and if you listen to me, see me on Twitter, even on your show, I give Tommy Rees the hardest of hard times with some of his game planning. I got to give him so much credit for sticking with what was working and not going off on his own little tangent to see if this works when there was no reason to do that.
Yep.
He stuck with it. But at the same time, it's like, is that the new Tommy Rees, or was that just for this one game? Because if that's the Tommy Rees we're going to get, that sticks to what works and does what works and understands the personnel, great. I'd love to have him around. But if he's going to only do it for these one-offs and then go back to, well, that's working, but let's try this now, I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah,
right?
And the quarterback issues, still a big deal. Like in game with, like you're talking about, is one thing. But the bigger picture issue is quarterback retention, development, recruiting. Like they could have ran it for 700 yards against Clemson, and I'll still say Tommy hasn't done a good enough job with the quarterbacks. Like I could separate those out. Like they're both true at the same time. I'm happy for Tommy. He came down towards the end of the game from the booth down to the field to celebrate. I was happy for him to do that. To be winning in that position means you had a great night. Like all of that. So I am encouraged that despite some of these known limitations, we did what we did. It's a great sign for the future.
Yeah. And the last thing, I know you got a bunch of callers. Last thing I'll leave you with, I know I saw some Clemson people in the chat. I just got to say, one of my best friends it became one of my best friends via Twitter, Clemson graduate. I've become friends with some of these Clemson people. I went to the 2018 Cotton Bowl. I've been to not as many Notre Dame games as maybe some of you, but I've been almost 30. Without question, the most respectful, appreciative, humble fan base I've ever encountered. The 2018 Cotton Bowl, much like your story after the game, we're in Dallas. We're at this big venue, Texas Live, waiting in line to get a beer. This guy turns around. He's wearing a purple pants and an orange shirt. He's like, "Hey, man, the score wasn't as close as it looked like. You guys played tough. You got a good team, da-da-da." Long and short of it, he bought me and my dad a beer. I'm like you just said, I could never imagine going to a game, whipping a team's ass, and then go, "Hey, let me buy you a beer."
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, they were all, I had no problems with them. I didn't see any. They were really respectful, very nice. I had no problems with them. I was very impressed. And it was a classy fan base. I didn't see any problems. Even with like the young people that were drunk, like the college kids that came, no problems. Like everybody was respectful. It was a great weekend, man.
Yeah. So the Clemson fans, I don't mind Clemson, Notre Dame having a little back and forth, competing for recruits. I I've earned I've given them a lot of respect as they deserve. They've earned a lot of respect and kind of appreciate them as an opponent. So
yep.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
The
man.
weekend was awesome.
Yep.
Thank
Hope we have more like it. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good week.
Oh, yeah. Take care.
Take care. Where was it? Somebody put something in the chat, and I don't know if they saw me address it or not in my post-game show. Here's the deal. Somebody put that a big turning point for them was that scuffle at halftime, and they saw our guys bouncing into the tunnel and then into the locker room at halftime. I think that's here it is. That's it, Rob. I went over this in my post-game show yesterday where we were opposite end zone of the tunnel. We could see right in the tunnel because we were opposite end zone. I could see right in it. We had the scuffle. Don't worry, I'm getting back to the calls. We had the little scuffle, and then they separate everything. And then all I see is the shadow of the gold helmets bouncing as we go up the tunnel and then hang a left into the locker room. All I saw was all the gold bouncing up and down, and I knew we're not losing this game. It's 14. 14. We're not losing this game. It's not going to happen. I was 100% confident in that moment. Notre Dame was not going to lose this game. Seeing that vibe, seeing that energy, it's what we've begged Notre Dame football to provide, and they never do. They never do. It wasn't Catholics, convicts. I'm not saying that, but it had that vibe of we're not losing today. The vibe, we're not losing today. And I knew in that moment, I leaned over to my brother and I said, I feel like that was the switch being turned on the Freeman era. Them bouncing into that locker room with all that energy, feeling it, feeling themselves, playing good. No letdown. No letdown. It was beautiful. Beautiful. All right, back to the calls. Let's see. 219, you're on the line. How you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm still tired.
Good.
Hey, man, how amazing was that atmosphere in that stadium Saturday, man?
I'm telling you, I said one of the big things with this, especially if it was going to be cold and kind of weird weather, they had to find a way to keep the crowd engaged, provide that environment. You get the punt block for a touchdown, and it was off all night. I thought the crowd was great, but we were playing great. So it's like, yeah, the crowd should be into it. Like, it was just a beautiful night, man. Beautiful night.
But still, it just felt different. Even the minute you walked in there, it felt.
Yep.
I mean, I've gone to games my whole life, and it's been a long time since that stadium felt like that. A long time.
Yeah, I don't remember a win that satisfying in my cognizant memory. I really don't. Like, I was under 10 in, the early 90s, whatever. This was it. And winning's winning. Domination is different. That is my tagline for this week. Winning is winning. Domination is different. It signals something different when you do what we did. I was super impressed. It's what we begged for, Adam. We've been begging for this for like decades.
Oh, yeah. It was, and I felt like most Notre Dame fans were confident going into this game. But mainly more because I don't think Clemson is as good as they've been in the past. But I was dead wrong last week when I called and said, we're going to have to make some plays in the passing game because that NFL front is not going to let us run the ball. I was dead wrong.
And it wasn't even creative. We ran north-south and just pounded them on repeat. Like, do you know what that does to a team? It emasculates you. It is like the most insulting thing you could do to somebody is run the ball right at them and they can't do anything to stop it. And we did it all night. All night. They were averaging giving up 88 yards rushing a game. We pile up 263. O-line, I tip my cap. You deserved it on that night. Good job.
I mean, we beat the number 4 team in the country's ass by throwing the ball for 80 yards. I mean, how great does that feel?
Yeah, just to be, I'm sure you're in this headspace, but to leave that game with us on the other side of one of these beatdowns, I almost felt like it wasn't real. I'm like, wait a second, am I allowed to talk a little crap now and have a little swag and be in a good mood and feel like we're good at football and kind of walk around, like we're not used to this and we all needed it. And it was just like the ultimate reset for Freeman. It's just good, man. It just feels good for once.
It feels like he's doing a better, I don't know if he's doing a better job, but just like even his mannerisms on the sideline, everything, like he's like getting used to being the head coach too. Like it's getting better.
Yeah. You feel like he's settling in a little bit. But the most important thing to me was this showed that Freeman factor, that little extra, that the right guy can get out of their group, like Lou Holtz used to be able to do. Leahy used to do it. Like, I wanted to see that this was that. This is what I mean by, like, I think Marcus has that personality to be able to build an environment up that they play better than what we think they could play on the biggest stage. It's exactly what we got. This is about as good as this team could play this year, and we got it in the biggest of moments. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was, my seats are real close. We're real close to the field. So you can almost tell immediately if the team's into it, the speed. I mean, that team Saturday night looked so fast. It's so intense.
You know what?
It was like a whole nother level.
You know what? A lot of people who analyze this stuff at a lot higher level than I'm capable said Notre Dame really looked like the faster team in a lot of areas in that game. That tells you something about the talent level of Notre Dame, and it's just going to get better. I saw a report. I think next year's Notre Dame class is like number 1 or 2 in as far as speed, like average speed of their guys. Like, I thought we looked like a faster team, most definitely a more physical team. It all bodes well for the future. Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah. I was watching a little bit, some replays, of the game on Peacock too. And it's like, when you saw videos of Dabo and that coaching staff and Clemson, it's like they were in shock. Like there was no emotion almost on their face. Like they didn't know what to do.
Yep.
When someone's running the ball at you like that and you can't stop it, and you got Will Shipley and you can't run it.
There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could do. You're stuck then. It looked like all of our big games under Kelly reversed. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, you're right, 100%.
I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. It was every Brian Kelly big game reversed. Can't run the ball, not stopping the run, a dumb turnover, all of it. And we were the ones doing it. I am just not used to these kind of luxuries, okay?
Yeah. I know you got a lot of people, so before I get off, though, real quick, whoever's, I saw some people on Twitter and some people worried about the crowd. Whoever thought that Clemson was taking over the stadium, that sure was dead wrong, because that wasn't even close to them taking over anything.
You know what I thought?
I
noticed that too. Here's what I thought. I thought seeing that bright orange all over before the game and on Friday made it look like there was more of them than there really was. When I got in there, I thought the same thing. They had their corner allotment. Other than that, it was just little specks here and there. It was nothing like Cincinnati, nothing like Georgia, not even close.
Yeah. I mean, not even close to Georgia. Yeah, like you said, Cincinnati had more people than Clemson did, for sure.
Yeah, it was. But, so I don't know, man. This was fantastic. And the other thing, too, is everybody I talked to on the Clemson side, they all wanted to come in 2020, and then it got COVIDed out, So these are people that really wanted to make it to Notre Dame, just as far as, bucket list college football place to be. And they were all respectful. And Of course, I'm in a good mood to be nice to them because we won. So what do you want me to say? You know?
Yeah. They were all real nice to us too, and we talked to some people going in there talking about how beautiful and great Notre Dame is, and they loved it. But I don't think they had any idea what was coming. They had no idea that this was coming.
Neither did I. Neither did anybody. Like, I mean, who would have ever listen, man? I did actually end up picking Notre Dame to win. You know, for the Irish Wire, I have to put in an official pick that goes in the website. But I had it close, like a 3-point field goal at the end deal. But this level of efficiency and domination in all three phases of the game for all 4 quarters of the game is what we've begged for and never had under the last guy. And we got it year 1 under this guy. And this is by far the worst roster he's going to have. That is my big picture takeaway that makes me very excited for the future.
Okay. All right, John, I'm going to get off, but yeah, it's great. Everything. I mean, what an amazing weekend. It was great. Let's just, for this Freeman factor to really kick off, we got to come out and play foul the next 2 weeks. I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah.
Kind of the way the season's gone.
I know.
Against the lower level competition.
And you know what, man? You know what, Adam? It's funny you mentioned that because I'm looking, you know, I want to finish off the first couple days of this week still being celebratory. The number one note when I get into the next week is going to be, you got to avoid the letdown. We've been here before, but I'm not ready to go there yet. Let me have my fun on a Monday morning before I have to worry again. You know?
Okay, we'll talk about that on Friday.
Yeah.
How about we make that deal?
Perfect. And the other thing, Adam, is I'm sorry I never met up with you. Tailgate got canceled. Then I had no service. Then a tree was down on the road I had to take to get from the Airbnb to the stadium. We were moving a tree out of the road. Like, it was wild. So I'm sorry I never found you.
I know it's a little different. It's a little difficult with us because we go to that north lot because we like the out better to the toll road.
Yeah.
So I know it's a little difficult sometimes, but definitely next year we'll have to make a date where we'll make a walk to you. We'll definitely meet up for sure.
Beautiful, man. But enjoy the week, man. I bet you all Notre Dame fans are bouncing into work with a little more energy they usually don't have. I love it. Enjoy it, man. Have a good week.
Oh, yeah. All right. Go Irish.
Go Irish. See ya. Oh, man. We still got more calls. I really hate Notre Dame 21-64. I really hate to be anything but positive. But for somebody, for the love of God, tell me why Styles can't catch a ball to save his life. Depending on who you ask, they're going to say, that's why he was a defensive player first. So maybe that's it. Like he was, a lot of people were recruiting him as a defensive player, not offensive. So maybe that tells you a little something about that hand-eye coordination. FPF, Jeezy Pete's. You're going to get me in trouble on a Monday. Watch that. I saw it. All right, let's go back to the calls. People want to talk today. Let's do it. 224, give me some more. Happy Irish Monday.
How are you, John? It is a good day to be for the Irish, isn't it?
I am in a abnormally pleasant mood that I am not used to.
Well, it's good to hear you this way. Finally, for a change, you're not pulling your hair out. You ain't chugging Pepto. So it's good to have you like this on a Monday.
My hair's growing back. It's the opposite. I feel it. I could feel it during the game. The hair was coming back in the top of my head.
Well, John, I got to start off with an apology to you because I lied to you last Wednesday, and I didn't mean to, but I did.
Uh-oh. What'd you tell me?
Yeah,
what lies did you tell me?
Well, I told you it was going to be, late into the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, before the offensive line was going to overpower Clemson's defensive front. We'd win by, I said, 14-17. I was, badly wrong on both of them. I'm sorry about that.
That's a good one. Yeah, man, man, listen, did you ever think that this particular team was physically capable of playing that good for a full ball game? I genuinely didn't think they had it in them to play that well against that marquee of a helmet for all night. And they did. And it was just gorgeous. Gorgeous.
It was from the start, the first whistle to the last. It was absolutely, everybody said it. You said it. It goes back to that Florida State game. It goes back to Lou Holtz when the last time was that we played this kind of 4 quarters football solid in all 3 phases.
And not only that,
we've had some great games.
Not only that, but it also, I've had people say to me, John, Notre Dame killed this team. That was done. The point is doing it against a really, really good team. People are missing the point. You can't bring up Kelly blowing out lower level teams. I'm talking about a top 5 undefeated team. I don't remember it in my life. And I'm 38, so I would have been really young in the early 90s. This was it. They have not had a complete game against an opponent at this level in 25 years. Can you think of one? I can't.
No, absolutely not. It goes back that far. I mean, yeah, Kelly had some dominant games, but again, all 3 phases, we know that Kelly, none of his teams ever had great special teams.
Didn't value it.
We've got
he didn't care.
Great special
he
teams.
Didn't care. When I was getting sick of Brian Polian special teams, and I would reach out to my people behind the scenes at Notre Dame that are at practice, I would say, why are our special teams crap? And what I was told is Kelly wanted special teams at Notre Dame to be a net neutral, not a problem, but not willing to put the practice time and resources into making it a plus unit. I was told they don't even spend that much time in practice on it. He just wants it to be a neutral. I always hated that. I hated it. You can use special teams to win ball games if you take it serious. And when the staff takes it serious, it makes it important for the players. And then they take it serious. And now you have dogs out there that want to eat and get after guys every time. And I love it. I've wanted this my whole life.
Special teams is a game changer. Special teams is a game changer every time. And it doesn't matter which part of special teams you look at. Either you've got to have a really good field goal kicker, because you're going to have those defensive games where it comes down to field goals.
Yep.
That's special teams. Having a great field goal kicker, a great punter who can flip that field when it has to happen. That's special teams. And of course, what we've been seeing now, blocking punts, blocking field goals, getting that part of your special teams to be able to do things. And we have just dominated.
When you block 6 punts in a year, you're doing something right. Usually you'll get 1 or 2 of those. Teams will pull you up on film and see what little stunt you did to get in there and then shore it up. 6 of them. These are game-changing momentum plays. And Brian Mason's energy lines up with mine. That guy is losing it on the sideline with excitement. He's my kind of energy, my kind of guy, and I love him.
I told you when I watched Dabo's press conference leading into this game, and he was asked about them blocking all the punts. And he said, it's 3 games in a row that I don't know if that's a record, but I know 4 is. I looked it up after we got that block punt. I was trying to find how many consecutive games is the record, and I couldn't find anything. All I could find was records on the most amount of punts in a particular game. Nothing on consecutive block punts, games with block punts. But Dabo let us set a record then, hopefully.
Yeah. And you know what else? It isn't just that. Coverages have been pretty good. They get some punt return action now, a little more than they did before. The fact that they've invested in that unit and it's paying off really warms my heart. Tackling was better, ran the ball well. The little design runs for Pine, with the one with Mayer as the lead block, that was beautiful. Everybody did a really great job. Great game plan, great execution. I'm telling you, we beat them boys bad. We beat them guys bad. They played like crap. They did not have anything going all night. They did nothing all night. It was beautiful.
We dominated from the start, and it's here. I don't like people. I'm tired of people saying, "Well, Clemson was overrated in the first place." Clemson had beat 3 top 25 teams so far this year. So, and when they say, "Well, Michigan's better," well, I don't think so, because who has Michigan beat? They haven't. But so we put it to a top 4 team. We put it to them all night long in every phase. We manhandled them. There were times where I was watching their vaunted defensive front get pushed back so much. I thought I was watching an NFL team playing a high school team. It was just that bad, the way we were destroying them on the front. And, that was one of my keys that I said, we have to play. I say it every week to you. Smash mouth football on the line. We have to do that. And we are doing it now consecutively every week. The lines, both of them, have gotten so much better from the start of the year. Everything is starting to gel. You're seeing things now that we have not seen in a long time. A couple of your callers have talked about it. That touchdown pass to Mayer there toward the end.
Yep.
If that was Kelly, we don't do.
Nope.
And that was first of all, I think it pissed off. And I heard this on another show after the game that night. I was listening to another show, and they were saying, Marcus was probably a little bit pissed because Dabo took a timeout knowing damn well the game was over. Now, granted, Dabo was being a coach and coaching till the end. But then the return response was Marcus Freeman saying, well, guess what? I'm coaching to the end too. You think we're just going to, game's over? Nope. Here comes the dagger.
That's a winner's mentality. Yeah, that's a winner's mentality. And we're never in the position to do that. And you know what else, man? It's all mental. We used to talk about where's the killer instinct under Notre Dame, under Brian Kelly. And it's like, we don't quite see that killer instinct, put somebody away, put the final dagger in the coffin, whatever you want to call it. And then I think that breeds down to in what the team is. When they see you taking your foot off the gas, running out the clock, not trying to push it, pile up on somebody, that's a mentality. And the fact that they went for it here, I love that. Beautiful.
That's the one thing that we have been missing. And you're absolutely right. When the team knows, all right, hey, we're not going to run. And, and over the years, I always wondered, hey, is that just kind of a Notre Dame thing? We're a good Catholic school. We don't want to run it up on teams. We know we're going to win.
No, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
This is man's sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good to finally see that. It's good to see that we played as hard as we could all the way through the final whistle. We didn't slow down. We kept the foot on the gas pedal. One thing I will say, though, I told you the other key was Drew just needed to be a game manager, right? We couldn't depend on him to win a game. We didn't need to. He's got enough weapons.
He did it perfect.
He could manage the game. However, he managed the game well. But the one thing that he really pissed me off about was that stupid Conor McGregor little swagger walk that he does. Dude, you threw for like 85 yards.
Let him have his moment. Let him have his little moment, because I don't know if he's going to have many. I don't know if he's going to have many in the next few years. Let him have his little moment, I guess.
Well, he didn't do it after any of the 4 passes that he threw into the linemen because he can't see over them.
Right.
He managed the game. That's all we needed him to do. I liked it. But you know what? Just keep that back. Whatever.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just embracing this for what it was. I couldn't ask for more.
It goes to another point, though. It just shows with the right quarterback, what else? How many points did we leave off the board because we didn't have that elite top talent quarterback?
5 million? Like over how far back you want to go? 5,000? If we're counting all the Kelly years and now, 5,000 points is how many we've left on the board without having a good quarterback.
I'm just saying, just with this game. I mean, this was they got Clemson got 7 because the refs helped them out. I mean, that was clear. But there were a lot of times where he was rushing through his progressions, missing wide open, not even seeing them. So he didn't even try to throw them the ball because he missed them, but they were wide open. So we left a lot on there. We would be so much more dangerous. And
yeah, I've been
it's
saying
a
that
good
for
thing
20
because
years. I mean, it's like it, but it's
Clemson
like
knew who we are.
I want a quarterback. Give me a quarterback. Find one next year. Go to the portal, recruit one. People are saying something's going on with Oregon's offensive coordinator. Maybe he'll get the Auburn job or something. And then does that affect Dante Moore? I don't know if it does or not. Does Nike money still print if this guy goes to Auburn? I hate to have to bring that up, but I think it's a fair question.
That brings up a good point, too, because I wasn't necessarily thinking about Dante, but you know who I was thinking about? I was thinking about Keon Keeley.
Yeah.
His boys go down to LSU.
Yeah.
And we win a dominant game. You know, is he maybe going to start? Because I ain't so sure if Alabama don't lose another one.
Yeah, this is one of the worst Alabama teams I've seen in a long time. So that favored Kelly. Yeah, they're a little down. So I don't know, man, but this was interesting. But got any final thoughts here? I need to get some more folks in.
You know what? The last thought is just the Freeman era, as you said, has truly begun. And this was the best weekend, I think, for this to happen the way it did, because of all of the recruits that were there. I think, there's one particular 5-star who happened to be there who's been flirting around with Texas A&M and Oklahoma, who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Him being there in this atmosphere, I think, we don't rush the field. We beat number 4. We didn't beat number 1, but we rushed the field. I felt like, because the student body, the fans, all felt this era is finally here.
Yeah, that's
it is finally.
You're right. That's what it was.
The first big step in.
Yep.
And so to see that, for those recruits to be in the middle of that and see that and feel that and hear it and just all those emotions, there's no better recruiting pitch than that moment right there.
And you know why? Because you can't manufacture that energy. You can't manufacture that vibe. You can't manufacture that intensity. And it was palpable. You could feel it in the building. Having all those people, all those recruits there was great. So just a great weekend. And I hope we keep trending up, my friend. Have a good week. Thanks for the call.
John, thank you, buddy. I'm glad you got to enjoy that one in person. Have a great week. We'll talk to you later on this week.
Beautiful. Give me a call back later in the week. We'll worry about the option. What do you say? Talk to you later, buddy. Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know.
We got it.
I hate that damn option. All right. We got calls. Let's do it. I'm just going to keep going. 737, your calls from heaven. What's going on?
Hey, John, good afternoon or good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm in a good mood. This is rare. I'm in a really good mood. Am I crazy?
No. How could you be crazy? That was amazing. I mean, shoot. Like that was for me, that was 80s Notre Dame football, smash mouth, the football that really kind of made you fall in love with Notre Dame back then. I think, my wife is sitting there. She's watching the game. My kids are watching the game with me. And after the game was over, I am not an extremely emotionally outward person. And
me neither. Me neither.
You have. She goes, you just have some type of emotional attachment to Notre Dame. I mean, it's literally like my family I have emotional attachment to, and then Notre Dame. That's pretty much the extent of it. But that was Lou Holtz style. Hey, we don't need the quarterback to be great because we're great on every other level to win the game. And it was dominant. I think, I think everybody's already talked about it. all the points, the field, you could feel it, the energy, like all that stuff. Man, I was so surprised with the way they played. Obviously, I think it's the best they've played. Goodness, like I said, I think everybody's kind of going back and forth and saying like, maybe it's better than this game or this game. It's the best game I could remember watching.
Me too.
Because it was so complete.
Me too. It was complete. I've been saying it, complete 4 quarters, 3 phases, and then adding in unranked, or unranked, 4th ranked, undefeated, championship caliber head coach and all that. Like, that's a big game. That is a big win. It was a statement. And I know Clemson has their own issues. That's their problem. It isn't going to take the shine off this was. If they had so many issues, they should have been ranked 15th then instead of 4th. So it can't just be when Notre Dame does something good, everybody else is terrible. If they were that bad before, don't have them ranked 4th.
Everybody's saying it's not the Clemson of yesteryear, but I think when you gotta look at the game and really kind of look at what happens. I don't know how many people on the call, how many people online pay attention to Clemson. I try to look at some of those teams that, hey, we might see this team at the end of the year, so I try to pay close attention to them. Clemson has not been beat like that in every phase of the game. I don't care if it's a championship game versus Alabama or Georgia. Like, they haven't been beat like that in a long time. So, yeah, maybe they're not where they were a few years ago, but even when you look at even the crappy teams that they've played, or the good teams or any of the losses they've had, nobody's put it on them like that. Like, it was demoralizing for them. You could see it. Like, they weren't expecting that,
and they had no answers. I love looking at Dabo over there with no answers. Like, he knew they were in a bad spot. He had no answers all night. Looked frustrated, and it was beautiful. That is always our role. Every one of these huge games, that's our sideline with no answers. They can't get anything done on either side of the ball all night. It is just so refreshing that we were the ones putting that together on our side for once.
Yeah, at one point he literally threw his hands up, right? Because it was like a 3rd and whatever.
That's a shame, isn't it?
First down.
That's just a shame.
Yeah, he just couldn't get it going. So I mean, again, when have you ever heard Dabo in a press conference say, "We just got our asses kicked"? I mean, he literally said, "We got our asses kicked." Again, you don't hear it. I'd say. There's a few things. I'm listening to it, and it's funny because all the Clemson people the day before were saying there's no way Notre Dame stacks up to Clemson. There's no way they're running on that line. Obviously, they don't have a passing game. There's no way that any of this can happen. The next day, I'm watching everything on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and everybody's saying, "Well, Clemson's a fraud. They're no good. They weren't good. They haven't been good all year."
That's the way it goes, isn't it?
You have to listen to both sides from the same people literally within few hours. It was funny. I will say, I give you, and again, I know, like everybody else said, you got a ton of callers. I give you credit though, John, for Syracuse and for Clemson. They followed your bullet points to the T.
You know what, man? I wasn't trying to be that guy. But when I put out the 5-point checklist Notre Dame has to follow to win this game, they did all 5 of them at like an A+ level. It literally every single thing I put in there happened. Like, steal a score, win the turnover battle, huge play early to get the crowd involved. Don't let them run. We have to be able to run. Don't make Pine have to win the game. We did all of it beautifully. They did everything they had to do and more. Who is this team?
I don't. Yeah, I was talking to a few friends and they were asking me some questions. I said, I don't know, man. I said maybe take away Georgia and a few other teams. I think we could have played and stood toe to toe with any program in the country the way that we played on Saturday night.
I mean, we just came ready, and the plan was actually a good one, and we executed it. The first drive, when I saw we were going to be able to run the ball a little, I'm like, all right, if they're going to let us run the ball north-south on them like this, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to be in the game all night. The first drive I noticed, I'm like, okay, if we're going to have that running room, we're all right. What a thing of beauty, man. Did it feel to you that this was like the unofficial starting point of the Freeman era? Because it did to me. Like a switch was flipped.
It felt different. Like I said, watching it, I'm watching the game, like I said, and I love that my kids are watching the game with me. You know, my wife is sitting next to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, this is the Notre Dame I fell in love with. This is the Notre Dame I've held on to for, years and years. There's no, if you're a true Notre Dame fan, you're no fair weather fan. You're no front runner. This felt great. And
Dude,
I do think.
You know what's funny, man? You know what's
Freeman,
funny? Yeah, go ahead, finish. I want to circle
No,
back.
go ahead, please.
It makes no sense when there can't be any fair weather Notre Dame fans because we never win anything. How could there be fair weather Notre Dame fans when we haven't won a major bowl game my whole 25 years? There can't be any fair weather Notre Dame fans because there's never been any fair weather to enjoy.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're a real fan because you take a lot of crap. And certainly over the last few years, took a lot of crap from the Alabama fans of the world. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it was exciting. I watched the game yesterday again, minus obviously commercials and all that stuff. Because I don't know, it seems to me like Notre Dame has the most commercial breaks of any team anywhere in the world. But watched it again yesterday just to kind of get that good mood going. And I told my wife after that I was giving the kids like baths and showers and stuff. I told the wife, I said, hey, if we just want to kind of keep this good mood going, if you see me getting grumpy, just throw it on the television. That'll happy me right up,
Yep, there you go. So this was what we all needed, and it just feels good to be on the right side of one of these. I'm happy for Marcus. I'm happy for the players. I'm happy for us. There's a lot of scar tissue around this program, and most of us have stayed loyal and love this program even through our frustration. It's just beautiful to have it finally pay off for us this one time.
Yeah, I think, and you guys have said it. I'll tell you this, there's not many points that can be made that are not really already brought up by you or the audience. I will say, though, I think one of the most impactful things from the game, as far as a takeaway for me, was a video that I saw, and then something else that I read, where it said that obviously, and you guys have said this, there were 60 plus recruits at the game, but the most impactful thing is all those recruits, as well as their families, down in the field celebrating the win. I mean, that's huge, man. Again, you talk about a program changing performance, 60 plus recruits plus their families there, seeing that celebration and just the way the field was, the energy was.
Yep.
Again, the Notre Dame of that you just can't help falling in love with. I think that was huge, and probably one of the, I think, most important pieces. I mean, obviously, than playing and winning the game and all that. And
it all came together finally.
It really did. A lot of people have been talking about Pine, and a lot of people have been talking about, hey, they still can't throw. You gotta put it into context. You gotta look at it and say Notre Dame was able to do what they did within the confines of what they have, and I mean that's a huge takeaway.
It was almost like they maximized what it could be like offensively. They pretty much maximized it. Like got the most output of what they could do at peak efficiency with the limitations they have, with the unique matchups in this ball game it took to win, and they did a great job.
Yeah, and then, I think, and again, I look at things too, and I'm looking back and I'm looking at some scores, and I'm like, if you go back, and okay, so let me ask you a question, right? And really for everybody, John, do you think that we have a prolific offense?
No way.
No,
not even
right?
Close. No,
but go back.
No,
and look at the scoring, the number of points that we've put up this year in our wins. You got a lot of 30s. 40s, it's not like we're not putting up points. We're putting up points. So to do what we do with the limitations that we have, I think it's impressive, and I think again you could see it getting better. I talked about that last week.
Yeah,
Pine was a manager.
Yep, that's all you needed.
Moving forward.
That's all you needed out of this. But it's also fair of me to imagine what this looks like with a 5-star, big-bodied athlete who is fast and has a strong arm. Like that's where this takes up to the next level. You know,
that's where we're going. That's where we're going. Like
yeah,
the future's bright. You could see it. You know, I don't expect much else out of Pine. He was a manager. People still kind of bagging on him. He did exactly what he needed to do. You got a few passes in there, a few bad ones.
Yeah.
Against Styles. I don't know, that kid's got stone hands like I've never seen before.
It's like, weird. I think it's in his head now. It's like me on the golf course. You miss 1 2-foot putt, it's in your mind every other hole. Your arms start shaking out there. I don't know if he's got the yips or what. This was what we needed. The whole program needed, everything around it needed it. Final thoughts, and then I got to get somebody else going.
Yeah, the special teams, defense set the tone. I mean, tackling was by far the best we've seen all year. There was no yards after catch. Shipley was essentially.
He's got to be sore really today.
Shut down.
He's probably still in the ice bath.
I had the pleasure of going to, the USC game. I think it was back in 2015 at Notre Dame as a homecoming game. It was just a wonderful experience. I haven't been to as many games as I'd like, just a few. You've obviously been to a ton. What was so different about being there? We heard about the crowd in the past, people not showing up for night games.
No, you know what, man?
What was so different? Because you could feel it.
But here's the thing, though. What's odd about what you're asking is all of the tailgate stuff was messed up because of the wind and the weather. It was a very bizarre. I've never been in town when the tailgating was this weird. Like we're at the Airbnb in the morning and we're getting messages from the university, seeing on Twitter, and it says, don't bring your tent. You can't set any canopies up. Like you're limited this, you're limited that. Then people that do a huge setup with a bar and everything didn't want to do it because what if it rains? It was a very odd tailgating scene because the weather was iffy and you weren't even allowed to have your setup. So that part was weird. Because of that, we got to campus very late before leading up to the game because our tailgates were ruined. Like the big ones we were going to go to, they weren't having. So we kicked it at the house. So that vibe was weird because it was so atypical. The tailgate vibe, like when we were there, it was fine. People were drinking, whatever. Pre-game in the stadium, I don't know. There was a little buzz. It was just kind of a fun night game experience. But it was the block punt, man. The block punt. That locked in the engagement for the whole night. Like, that was it. But the tailgate thing was weird. It was just unique because people couldn't do what they wanted to do. It was really the punt, man. It really was. After that, everybody was into it, and they never stopped.
You know what we'll do, John? We'll give you the. I said I'm watching the game, and I'm sitting here, and I'm going. John's going to have to go to every game now. Obviously, he's setting the precedent that he's at the game.
Buddy,
they're playing amazing.
Buddy,
I'll leave you.
Buddy, I've tried that. It doesn't work. Trust me. My ledger's about 50-50 over about 30 years. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did. But I have been there for some of the worst and left at halftime. I've done that. So it's wild.
Maybe it's your mojo mixed with the Freeman mojo. That'll be like I said, the new area. But I'll leave it at. I love that the recruits that were there. I love that they're there with their families. I love the way that the young guys stepped up. And I left that game being hopeful that the future is so bright. Finish out this year strong and really kind of just drive it. But just really good. I'll probably watch that game a few more times at some point. Who knows?
Yep, I know, man. I've watched the replay of Morrison's pick six 648 times since yesterday. It's beautiful.
Amazing or what?
It's beautiful. All right, I got to get to some other folks here. I feel bad. This was a good conversation. I just feel bad with so many people waiting.
No worries. I will say this. I was so surprised at the humility that Morrison gave when he was talking about it. That kid, you know, you're going to see good things from that kid. John, always appreciate you. Have a great day, sir. We'll talk.
Call me again. One sock Billy with Frank Leahy's avatar, $99.99. Holler. $99.99. I think I know who that is based off the name. Means a lot, and I really appreciate the support. That goes a long way, man. You just took care of the call-in lines for a while. So I appreciate that. One sock and Frank, by the way, too. Obviously, Coach Leahy in the mix. Let's go. Somebody says John's going to the bar. Yeah, let's see how far this 99 stretches, man. 812 talking to you. I'm going to keep running through. I'm going to get through these calls. Let's do it.
Hey, John.
What's going on, man?
Hey, I commented I was going to call with my official apology. I apologize for doubting Marcus, thinking he's in over his head, not understanding the task at hand, not trusting. My official apology. I'm here for it.
All right. Now let me I'm going to be very open with this. I mean, was this game enough for you to back off that position? Like, did you see enough because how this looked that it changed your mind where you're like, okay, I can see and feel this is the vibe, like he gets it. Are you really there, or was it just a good moment, but you're still looking to see those stack up more? Or was this a moment where you were like, this was good enough that it kind of changed my mind? I see what that Freeman factor thing's all about.
I think it started in the Loud House last week. I think you could see it there. Something changed. And it was repeatable at home. And that's the big thing. It was repeatable.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There might be some off-season housekeeping that needs done. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to ruin the vibe.
Yeah.
There might be.
Yeah.
And
so listen, that's totally fair though, man. I'm not getting in a position where we played great one game against Clemson and now I have to act like Tommy Rees is the best offense coordinator that's ever been born. Like, I want to make that very, very clear. I gave him credit, great plan, great execution, but there are more things involved with the Rees discussion than Saturday night against Clemson. And so that doesn't absolve all the quarterback issues because we played great one night. Like, it is still fair to have those issues.
Yes. He, like I said, I don't want to get too off into it too much.
Yeah. Not the day. We're not bringing it down today.
Not today.
Yeah.
No. We shit the bed playing Navy. We can have this conversation, but not today.
Yeah.
Yes. It seems like Marcus understands the assignment. I'm just going to put it that way.
Yeah. And it really does feel that way. It was pretty much domination in all three phases for all four quarters. I don't think anybody saw it coming, but I love that it did.
Yes. I'm literally at home today rewatching the game because I've worked all weekend. I barely got home in time to watch the game Saturday. I'm rewatching it. There's a point, I think it's in the third quarter, that Estime laid that jackhammer of a stiff arm out there in the Clemson.
Yep.
I don't know, linebacker pulled like he didn't want no part of it. And when I find it, I'll comment like where in the game it was. But it resonated with me Saturday night, and I was like, "Holy crap, they've arrived!"
That was the feeling.
Yes. On the flip side, is this the official end of the Clemson reign?
They're just not quite what they were. I've been watching some of their post-game stuff. They have issues with their offensive coordinator. They have issues with their staff, the quarterback dynamic. they have an issue with Pigskin Pete, some of the other guys I know, some of the hiring good old boy network they're starting to feel with Dabo. They only want to hire guys that went to Clemson, like internal guys that Dabo knows. And is that the right move? They have some of those discussions going on their side. People are saying Dabo's not really building things now the way he did when he first ascended with Clemson, and why has that changed? So I don't know what they got going on down there, but whatever it is, I'm glad they had it when we played them.
Yes. Hey, and we've had this conversation before. I live outside Louisville, Kentucky, on the sunny side of the Ohio River. And here in Louisville, of course, Louisville goes to Clemson this weekend. They're smelling blood in the water. They're after what happened Saturday, they don't have the same fear they had a couple weeks ago about going to Clemson.
Yeah.
That might be a fun game.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the other thing is, though, think about it. You could also end up in a position where Clemson goes ahead and wins the ACC. Think about that. Think about it. They already wrapped up that division. They go ahead and win the ACC, and it's like, it's hard to brag about your conference when the conference winner got blown out in a road game against you. That would be funny, too, because we would pretty much own the ACC by default.
Yeah, maybe we should join it.
I mean, it
sounds like fun.
Geez, I mean, this was just exactly what we needed. Felt like the beginning of something great, and I'm here for it. Any final thoughts? I got to try and get some more folks in.
My only rebuttal on my urban statements are I like Marcus, but I love the program. My number one outlook is what's best to get this to be hoisting a trophy in January. That's what's the best thing for that. And that's the only rebuttal I have.
Yep.
That's my closing thought. Like Marcus, love the program.
Beautiful. Fair enough.
Here before Kelly. Here before Kelly, here for Marcus. I'll be here for the next one.
There you go. We're always here, better or worse. This one feels good. It's nice to be on the right side of the ledger. Give me a call again later in the week, my friend. Thank you as always.
Okay, talk to you later, John.
Take care. Have a good one. I just love what a good mood everybody's in. It's just so rare. 562 talking to you. Good morning.
Good morning, John. How's it going?
It's going surprisingly terrific. That's how it's going.
I am feeling terrific, dude. I mean, watching that game on Saturday, we nailed everything. And from the special teams to the offense to the defense, I mean, everyone was on.
Yep.
And I just couldn't be more happy. I mean, just like everyone on this call, we're all freaking ecstatic. And I know you got a lot of callers here, but my main point, let's win out the rest of the season. We need to beat SC. I have a good feeling that we can beat SC, and let's win a bowl game, man. And as long as we win a bowl game, win out the rest of the season, I feel good about it.
Could you imagine the turnaround from the early September we had to end up at 9-3 after starting 0-2 and the way we did and losing the quarterback and how bad it all looked and all felt? If you wrap this thing up and end it with 9-3, which would mean you're going to LA and beating USC to end it. Oh my, what a great turnaround. I mean, that's an amazing turnaround if you did that.
Yeah. And then plus with all of our recruits coming in, I feel like 2020, if we close it out the way that we're talking about right now and we go into 2023, I think all we really need is a quarterback. Just so I can feel comfortable. I mean, Drew Pine, thank you for the great season. It was good that you jumped in. I mean, we just need some sort of quarterback. Will we get old boy from North Carolina? I'm forgetting his name. I doubt that will happen. And it's from a transfer perspective. I feel like he has it good over there. But I just don't know, what quarterback we can get. But, I mean,
That's all I feel like I would really need to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Going
But now
into that
here's the good
2026
thing.
season. And the young guys are showing up too.
Here's the good thing, though. I've been thinking about all this too, and I think it's all positive from where I sit right now. Meaning, I know how limited we are at wide receiver and quarterback, and they still were able to get this kind of performance. That just means the sky is the limit. When you have all the talent that you really want, the sky is going to be the limit. To get this performance out of this group tells me there's a lot of meat on this bone, and the better the talent gets, the higher that potential goes, and I'm here for it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, did Lorenzo Styles, after that missed drop, easy pitch and catch in the first half, I mean, was he in the doghouse after that? I don't remember.
You know what? I don't remember either.
After.
And we weren't throwing the ball a ton. Yeah, I don't know, but it was a bad drop. I mean, it was rough. Luckily, everybody could kind of look past it given what else happened. So, it was, but I am just not used to Notre Dame playing a complete game, being that good in all areas with the energy level they had, playing crisp, taking advantage of the other team, like creating plays. This is not the Notre Dame we're used to, and it is a welcome change.
Yeah, and just like to your point, like that first, like the early September, it was feeling a little dark for all of us. But I mean, getting past this Clemson game, even during the Clemson game, my buddy from who's also an SC fan, he lives in the area. I mean, I'm not an SC fan, but I mean, I have many SC friends since I'm from LA, and he was just texting me. He's like, dude, if Notre Dame is playing the way that they're playing right now against us, that's going to be a tough one. And all we really have to worry about is Caleb Williams. If you think about it, like that guy is like, he's a good quarterback, but I mean, look at what we did to what's his face from Ohio State. Like I feel like Al Golden can come up with a game plan to stop SC's quarterback, and I feel like I really feel strongly that we can finish the season 9-3. And depending on who we play up against in a bowl,
You get your 10 wins.
we win that, dude.
Get your
I feel
10 wins.
comfortable.
Well,
Yeah,
think about it.
I feel
You
good
would
about it.
you would be able to extend that 5-year streak of 10 or more wins that we thought was impossible not long ago. Man, what a turnaround that would be. It would just be great. So, and the other thing with the USC game is the best way Notre Dame can beat USC is to run the ball on offense. Eat all that time, drive right down the field, push them around, eat up a ton of clock, score. Then they don't have the ball to play 7-on-7, throw it around. That's the path. I think I just think us running the ball is the number one key to winning that game on offense and defense. Like I really do. So, but I don't even want to worry about that yet. Can I have a week here to celebrate before I get stressed about that? Ruin my Thanksgiving. Turkey. Making me stress out about this.
Well,
any final thoughts, my friend? I want to get some more folks in.
That.
What else you got?
I just felt so good about this win, man. I'm just ready for the rest of the season. Let's close it out. But yeah, man. I mean, everybody, dude. We dominated in the trenches. The secondary didn't give up like huge chunk yardage plays, and Ben Morrison had the game of freaking life.
And he's listen. Here's the thing, though. He had the game of his life, and he's so young. He can have 5 more games of his life better than this one. That is the best part. The best part about Notre Dame having a guy do what a guy like him did. He's young. That guy's going to be around, and he went out there and made game-changing plays in the brightest of lights and made all those plays, and he's young. It is the best part. Bodes well for the future. I love it.
That 96 pick six to the house, man, dude. I mean,
you can't beat it.
On and on about this game,
I
man,
know.
but
I know.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, man. I know you're busy. Thanks.
Hey, you know what, though? I'll be back Wednesday. Call me again because people are still going to want to talk, and I'll be here. Call me Wednesday. But thanks for the call. Enjoy your Monday.
See you, John.
Have a good one. What did I click? I hit something stupid. What is this? All right, here's what we're going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 more calls. 707 574 574-336. Let's go. 707. Good morning to you in Irish Nation. What's going on?
Hey, John, and it's going to say happy birthday again because this is like a new birth, right?
I'm telling you, man, it really does feel good. We needed this. I just needed to feel this.
Maybe we ought to renew our vows or something.
I'll do whatever it takes. I will chop off an arm if it takes me getting this kind of performance out of Notre Dame. All right? We don't get these kind of games.
Well, I'll tell you, this is easily the best win since the '93 Florida State game for me.
I can't think of one that was more sound all throughout and against a quality opponent at this level. I can't think of one either.
I know. I lost my voice before kickoff on that game, and that's what I got out of the crowd this week was that they were buzzing, and I can feel it on TV, you know?
Yeah. And it helps. It does help when you block a punt in the first quarter. I mean, that's a good way to get the crowd going. But it was a fun atmosphere, and the recruits had a big presence, and you knew it. And they were getting in a lot of work. I mean, it was a big operation. It was a big weekend. And for once, it all came up Shamrocks for us.
And, you know, that's huge on the one aspect of seeing what a dominating performance this team did. But then again, these receivers, you know, they have a couple of really good top-end receivers that were there and, you know, pine through for 85 yards. So there's a little bit of give and take with that, you know, exuberance.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
but I like.
Listen, man, we know how limited this offense is still, and that's almost why it was more impressive to me what they were able to do, because it was pretty much one-dimensional running, but Pine made a couple throws. But the most encouraging thing to me is we did all of this with a very limited offense. It's not like I looked at this and went, "This is the best Notre Dame team we've had in 20 years." Better do it tonight or never. No, there's a lot of meat on the bone here as the talent gets better.
Well, it was the best performance in 30 years.
How could it be that long? How could it be that not once you just have a good week, or even the other team just has a really bad one and it makes you look good in a big game? How have we not had either of those happen in this long?
I don't know. Ever since Holtz left, we had a merry-go-round of coaches, and then we thought we hit somebody with Kelly, and it wasn't, you know, and we stayed with them way too long, and that's what happened. All of a sudden, it's 30 years.
How did you react during the pick six once you realized that the guy that dove for him missed him and he was going to break it? What was going on at your house? Were you losing it?
Well, it was just so fitting for that to happen to that kid because he played his ass off that game. But the thing I really liked was Marcus finally showing the refs a little emotion, you know, because that targeting call on Pine, that they even reviewed it.
I don't get it.
Call it targeting.
I do not understand that at all. I don't get it. What are you looking at? It was literally helmet to helmet launched into him. I have no idea what they were looking at.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And they reviewed it. But anyway, I mean, I don't want to take away. I mean, that blocked punt, you know, once that happened, I mean, so quickly. Of course, Notre Dame, I think, got the ball first and went 3 and out or something. But, you know, when they got the ball and went 3 and out and then a blocked punt, and then the next time they punted Foskey, I think he got a finger on it because they got it out at the 42-yard line. It went out of bounds. So I think they actually had 2 blocked punts, you know, even though that second one didn't really look like the dominating block punt. I think he got a hand on it.
I'm telling you, Brian Mason's my type of guy. Got that operation pumped up, playing good every week. He goes crazy on the sideline. Like, that's a guy I can relate to in a lot of ways. I love what he's doing.
Yeah. But it was very eerily similar to that Florida State game. That was the game of the century. You know, Florida State at that time was on a good high roll. Everything was all Florida State, and everybody wanted Bowden to win one finally and all that.
Yeah.
And they come into Notre Dame as the team ranked number 1, and Notre Dame was ranked number 2, both undefeated. And they were allowing 62 yards a game rushing. You know, this team, Clemson, was allowing 88. Well, Notre Dame only had like 43 yards in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden they just blew them away. I mean, nobody's talking about Diggs, but I thought he was so steady between the 20s. Like every time he touched the ball, he was getting 8 yards.
Yeah, it was nice what they were doing there. And they each had, well, Estime and Diggs. I think they each had almost 115, 114, 113. That's a good effort, man. And to have 2 of them get over 100, man, that's great.
And then not only when we were talking about Morrison and his pick 6, but the play I really loved was when that tight end was down the sidelines and he was looking to run over Morrison, and Morrison just completely stood him up. And then, what's his name? Bertrand, finished him off, knocked him out of bounds.
Yep.
That was a great play. I mean, that to me was where I was like, yeah.
But you know what else, too? They were a lot crisper with their tackling and their hitting. Like they just seemed to tighten it up a lot compared to what we've seen.
Completely.
And I don't
gang tackling and no one. Well,
but what causes that? What
great,
causes that?
The gang tackles were something I haven't seen in forever.
Yeah, hold the guy up and gang up. Like I don't know what flipped, but it was very pleasant to see. I thought they were very crisp and sharp, and it was the night you needed it.
Yeah, and then that hit Ramon Henderson put on that tight end right after Morrison stood him up. That kid was done.
Yeah, and I was worried they were going to call that a targeting too, because it was such a good hit.
No, but he went in with his shoulder. So, I mean, it was high because the guy's a big guy, Like, what could you do?
Right, exactly.
He just hit him with his shoulder. So they couldn't call that, especially when they don't call that one on Pine.
Yeah, but this was just a performance we've all asked for. I didn't expect it this year out of this group. This just shows you there's room to the high end on this. And once this talent turns around a little bit in certain areas, this could be very, very fun if this is the product we're capable of being.
Yeah, and, for them to stone Shipley like that was really something, too. That was impressive.
He's got to be sore, man. Great. He's got to be sore. They were hitting him. They were hitting him and hitting him and hitting him.
They just stoned him out, like he just couldn't get anything rolling, and neither could the quarterback.
I'm telling you,
Dabo Golden deserves a lot of credit for what he designed to go against those guys, and that team, they all brought it for that game. I've not seen that kind of play in 30 years. It was just so fantastic to see it again.
Yeah, it really was, and it's, man, and I'm so happy for Freeman too. Like, he needed something like this, and I'm really happy for him. And a lot of those people that said early in the year he's a DC and never going to figure it out. I've seen enough. Get him out of here. All that. Like, I really wonder what those people think now.
Yeah, well, you knew, like we talked about in the beginning of the year, you got to give this guy a chance. Just like, you're heading into a season with a second-string quarterback, and neither the first or second had any playing time at all. Marcus Freeman's first year. I mean, you got to give some slack. You can't be totally unreasonable.
Yeah, and you had the quarterback injury. Sometimes it's like we almost forget that your starting quarterback's out for a year. That's a pretty big hit for every team. Sometimes we just kind of look right by that fact. Like, whether you think Buckner would have been good or not isn't the discussion. The point is, the guy the staff thought was going to be their starter was out the whole year. That's kind of a rough start, too.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll take him all day over Pine because, he was leading Ohio State after 3 quarters. I mean, they finally took the lead with 44 seconds left in the third quarter. So it's not like he was a disaster out there. He was leading the Notre Dame, doing what needed to be done. And with a team full of unknowns, like nobody knew anything for Notre Dame. We all liked the defense. I did. But, we just didn't know what we had yet. And we had a bunch of new people in critical positions. And then Reese, offensive coordinator, who I've been screaming about for years. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, they showed themselves good against Ohio State. It's where they meltdown with freaking Marshall. I mean, wow. that was the concerning point. And then, Stanford was just, they came out flat. But, boy, with this game, I think, like you said, I think this could be the start of where you look to see. And it's an easy look to because it was just so thorough,
Yep. So it was a great night, and I hope there's more to come. But I found solace in knowing now that upside potential to be better than what we've seen lately exists. And this was proof of that. And that can sustain me for whatever comes next as he gets this talent where he wants it. This is something that can sustain us through that process because I've seen
we just
that he can do it.
To lock down a very good quarterback, and we're going to be set for a pretty good time.
There you go, my friend. Well, I appreciate the call. I'm going to get a couple more folks in here. Give me a call later in the week. This is too good to not enjoy again. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, go Irish.
Go Irish. Go Irish. Oh, man. Here we go again. 574. Give me some more.
Hey, how you doing, John?
I'm in a rare, very good Notre Dame football mood. That's how I'm doing. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm from South Bend. I went to 20 games, and I stood there in the beginning of the third quarter. I started to feel it, and it wasn't a feeling I've ever had before, and I couldn't explain it. But I looked at my partner next to me. I said, "We're storming the field," and man, it was exciting. It sure was. But I just want to get on here and say I should have called last week, but I thought Notre Dame was going to win for more than a couple of reasons. I thought the defense was going to step up, and our O-line was going to give our run game some time to play.
But even if you thought that, you didn't think it was going to be this good, did you? Like, I had them winning 2, but in a very, very close nail biter at home at the end. I didn't see anybody having this. This was impressive.
I had it at a 7-point game. If I were to pick a spread, I would probably say like 5 or something. But no, I had it close towards the end too. But no, I thought to myself that morning, if our cornerback stepped up, our DB stepped up, then that was really the key. And if our special teams kept playing the way we were playing, that was it. Everything worked. They played a good game. Other than the bad PI calls that I didn't like, I was there, so I didn't see it on the TV. But from being there, I didn't like the PI calls.
Me neither.
They played a good game. God damn it! Excuse my French, but Lord, it was a good day.
Yeah, it really was. We needed something like this. It shows what's capable from this program on the high end when they're right. And when they're thinking about it right and they're prepared. It was just so refreshing. It was a special night. I feel like everybody bonded with Marcus in some weird cathartic way. Like we all bonded and got closer, whether it was there in person, rushing the field, or watching on TV. I just felt like there was some communal bonding here. We all love Marcus and the way he treats us and the way he approaches things. We want him to succeed. And I get a feeling like Marcus wants us to be happy. I feel like he genuinely cares, and I appreciate it. It was wonderful.
When BK left, I kept thinking to myself, what are they going to do? Marcus Freeman's got to be our head coach. I even found a clip from the springtime the year before. BK was quoted saying that Marcus Freeman would be the next head coach, and he double backed and said he said like he might be or something.
Well, wait a
something
second. Wait a second. Do you remember the one guy in the media that put that clip out into existence? Do you remember who that was?
No, I don't.
You know who it was? It was me.
It was you?
Yeah, hell yeah, it was me, because Kelly was on the Golf Channel. This wasn't even football. Kelly was on the Golf Channel at a charity event getting interviewed, and he said, oh, Marcus Freeman, he's going to be the next head coach. And then I made a big deal of it, not knowing what he meant. And then I put it out there, and it got all this traffic, and everybody said I was an idiot. And then he ended up getting the job.
Wow. You know what? I believed it when I saw that and thank you for putting the clip out. I believed it when I saw it because he's a man of morals. And for me, I'm a nerd with football. I dive into current coaches. I've already looked into when he was the defensive coordinator. I've already looked into him, so I already liked him. The players liked him. You saw the video when he got introduced as a coach. That is our coach. And, to all people that were saying, fire Tommy Rees, that may be debatable here in a couple of weeks. I don't necessarily think that right now. I'm still on Tommy Rees as a young kid. Give Marcus Freeman some time. Give Marcus Freeman the opportunity to see what he wants on his staff. Give him the 2 to 3 years to get the recruits in there. Brian Kelly had one top 5 recruiting class in 12 years. We're at 3rd right now.
Yep. And
after today, where are we going to be at?
Yeah, it's trending up. And when you could do this with this roster, that means what are you going to be when you have way better talent? Like theoretically, you just keep getting better. What you're capable of at the high end is going to be higher if you have better talent and the right mindset. It's beautiful. He
Absolutely.
did this. Think about it, man. We're saying this is the best Notre Dame's played against a good team in 30 years. And we think our offense really isn't that good. We don't have a quarterback that we love with a big arm. And he still was able to get us how we feel he played the best we've seen in 30 years. You're doing something right. Get
Right.
that talent in there. Get a good quarterback you could hitch your wagon to.
Drew did his job.
Yeah, he did.
Drew did his job.
He did his
He
job,
played a
but
good, clean game. There was no fumbles.
Yep. He did it. He did a good job, but that doesn't mean that I can't ask for a little more, right? Like out of just the baseline talent. Like for the dynamic we're in, this was fantastic. Exactly what you needed. But I need a guy who's going to be winning playoff games. I need a guy winging it around. But they did what they needed to do, and it was absolutely beautiful. Hey, Nick Shepkowski jumped on. Caleb Smith just committed, FYI. Probably was coming regardless of Saturday, but way to cash in on it already. So there you go. Notre Dame already paid off, having all those recruits while we're live on the air. Nick, thank you. Beautiful. So there you go. You're already getting the payoff from this. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. So you're already getting the payoff there. It's just beautiful, man. It's exactly what we all needed. It's just lovely across the board, and it's terrific.
I thought he was a 4-star. Yeah, he's a 3-star. Yeah, no, it is terrific. Yeah, absolutely. We need a better quarterback. I'm putting Drew Pine a C- overall, but today or Saturday, as far as just doing his job and taking care of the football, the whole team, just an A+. It was clean. It was just a good, clean football game.
Yep.
Man, I rushed the field. I rushed right into Tommy. I had a couple words with Tommy. Man, it was the best day of my life.
Yeah,
I'm in the picture holding up Estime. I'm just holding his fucking leg. The dude's like 300 pounds.
Oh, that's great, man. But like just having that communal experience with all of us there, like it honestly just felt like one big family, like embracing Marcus and him embracing us. Like it really does feel like an intimate relationship in a unique way because of how Freeman presents himself. It's a very, very different feel, and it's a familial one. And I think it could work at Notre Dame uniquely because Notre Dame's so unique. It was beautiful. Any final thoughts? I'm going to try and get a couple more people in.
No, none at all. I agree with you. If I saw Marcus Freeman, it was romantic. I'd kiss him. Have a good one, John.
There we go. Thanks. Take it easy.
Have a good one.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to do a few more calls. We've run over. I want to get everybody through. 707-574-336. That's going to be it for the day. 707, you're up.
Hey, John. Man, I'm still trying to rehab my vocal cords, man. I mean, what a game. What a game. We were up there. We were one of the few green specks in the sea of orange in the corner this past weekend. We were in section 113. So we weren't too far from you, but we were all the way up top, man. It was so cold, but it was awesome. And those Clemson fans, they were awesome. They traveled nice, and they were really respectful and really cool.
Yep, I thought so too.
Nice.
Yeah, I had no issues with them. I did enjoy some of them being cold. There was a lot of them that looked cold towards, and then heading to the exits, 28-0, and you're cold. Good a time as ever to see you later. Beep beep.
Yeah, I think the team was cold, man, because they looked like garbage, man. Well, we made them look like garbage, but we were ready, you know. And another thing they were saying to us, they were like, okay, so what set the tone, at least in the section where I was at, was when Cam Hart beat the block and got Will Shipley down for a loss of 2 on the first defensive play, our defensive play of the game, when they got the ball. And those Clemson fans turned to me and was like, uh-oh. I hope we didn't drive 800 miles to watch the team lose. It was so funny, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I think that Cam Hart set the tone at the beginning of what, Clemson can expect from the defense. They were really surprised by the speed and by how hard we were tackling and hitting them. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I don't know.
And when you look at
why were we so much better and crisper with that? Like all year, the tackling and the angles have been kind of sloppy and not that great. And then they were sharp. They were gang tackling. They were holding guys up and having other guys come in and nail them. Like they were doing everything you want a good defense to do. They did.
Yeah, they were like, we didn't know you guys were that fast. I said I didn't either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just found out too. Yeah.
And then they were like, who is number 20? I was like, that's a freshman, man.
Yeah.
And they were like, wow. So it was really cool, a cool experience being surrounded by these Clemson folks. They were more surprised by our team than by their team sucking, if that makes any sense.
No, that does make a little, that does make sense. Because I know there's Clemson people that knew offensively, especially there's some issues there this year, quarterback inconsistencies. You got a young guy and an older guy with rocky development. Like, trust me, we've been through that. It's, there's one thing I know, it's iffy quarterback play, right? But at the same time, they have talent on that team. They were undefeated. They were ranked 4th, and they have a championship pedigree head coach. The fact that Marcus Freeman went in there and then out-coached him and out-schemed him and out-executed him all day tells me a lot, and I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So a couple of calls ago, that the guy was talking about USC. Forget USC, dude. We have to play. We can't overlook any team, especially after the way the season started. So I don't want to even discuss USC or the possibility of a 9-3. I'm trying to get to 7-3, So
yeah,
let's go in there. Let's go into Baltimore and kick Navy's butt, and continue to play disciplined football. Look, we had no penalties up until the refs started giving them some sort of assistance. It was like, what is going on?
You want to talk about
Clemson fans around me? They were like
some sort of assistance. That is the nicest way of you to put it. They let them go all the way down the field on penalties. Like that's a lot of assistance. Their best offensive drive up until garbage time was the drive where the refs threw a 15-yard flag 8 plays in a row.
Right. Yeah. And then Benjamin Morrison was like, no.
I'm gonna go ahead Nope. We've seen enough of that. You can only get down here to a certain extent. I have rewatched that clip. Yep. I have rewatched that return on YouTube 698 times. I'm never going to get sick of it. Here's the thing, man. Being there, being in
that awesome, dude. That was so awesome.
Here's the thing. Being in that building.
My wife up.
Being in that building. And the fact that, like, if you score a touchdown on a 2-yard run, we're excited. the fact that it was 96 yards and took forever to get down the field. I mean, I almost had a stroke. I was jumping everywhere. People I don't even know I was hugging. It was just on. I didn't care who it was. I was hugging these girls behind me I never met before. It was just beautiful.
Yes, it was like a punt return or a kickoff return for a touchdown. It was that sort of feeling, you know.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Up and everything, and you know what was really cool was the Clemson fans. They gave me that, man. They were like, congratulations, you know. I mean, what can I say? You know, you guys just outplayed us. And you know, another good thing, John, that I really appreciated was the school actually beaming like the families and siblings of the recruits on the Jumbotron.
Yep.
You know, throughout the game. That was really, really
that
cool.
stuff all matters. It all those little touches add up. They all matter. But this was the kind of night this was the kind of night everybody needed. Like, we've had a lot of scar tissue, you know, with Notre Dame, and we all deserve this and we needed it. It's just nice to be on the other side of this ledger for once. So it was a great night. Any final thoughts? I got to get a couple more people in here and then go write another article and record more videos. This is content week, baby. Like, now's the time.
I hear you. One more thing is there were 60-something recruits at the game, and there were a couple recruits that's being recruited by both teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
that is a very unique dynamic. I'm glad you brought it up. Keep going. That's a very unique dynamic.
Yeah, if Chris Vecina was there, because he was like wanting to come to Notre Dame. It was like Dante Moore and then Chris Vecina. It was like that whole little thing that was happening a couple months ago.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be interested to see, you know, what happens with that whole thing. Because it would be really cool if we were to be able to, you know, get a couple steals or something. You know what I'm saying? Especially after this performance. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but man, this was enjoyable. And hey, listen, I'm glad you were able to be there, you and your wife, and have a good time. And it really did feel like a communal bonding event. Did it not? Or it felt like a communal bonding event. I can't describe it, man.
You know what?
Like, there was a lot of emotion. Like, it felt like an emotional connection being made between all of us and our scar tissue with Notre Dame and our desire to want Marcus Freeman's genuineness to reflect and win so that he gets credit. And he's a nice guy, so we want that for him. And he wants to make us happy and proud. And he really does care, and you feel it. All of that stuff was just magic.
You know what, John? That reminds me, one more thing. So we're coming into the state. We're going into the stadium, you know, with our, you know, get our ticket scanned and whatnot. It was so packed, right? And there was a lot of orange in there, in the gates that we were going through. And all you start to hear is, "Let's go Irish!" It was so loud, and the echo, and those Clemson fans are looking around like, "Wow."
Yep.
You know? And then when we went in and just to see the sea of green and blue, and the fans were like, I had never heard it that loud in that stadium at all the games I've been to. It was awesome.
And you know what else we got? You know what else it's easy to get into? When they're doing all the music and the TV timeouts and the light show and all that, when you're playing that way, I mean, everybody was into it. I was out there dancing. I'm dancing in the aisles. Like, it is rare to see. It is rare to see Always Irish in that stadium having fun, being loose. I mean, I was out there dancing when they're playing the songs. Like, and my brother's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Who is this team?" I'm like, this is how
right. Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, who am I? Who the hell are they playing this good?
My old ass out there doing the Irish jig.
Yeah.
Amongst the sea of orange people.
Dude, come on, man. They were playing some of them songs.
Awesome, man.
I was out there sea walking in the aisle. I mean, you name it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I mean, I was excited.
and all that energy comes from the stands down to the sideline of our
Yep.
team, and our team was bouncing. It was awesome, man.
It
was
was
an awesome experience. So, yeah,
it was
but,
beautiful.
Go Irish! You
Go
know what I'm
Irish.
saying?
Hey man, I'm
Go
glad
Irish.
you
Keep it
guys
up, John.
I'm glad you guys had fun. Thanks for calling me. Give me a call again, man.
Will do. Man.
Have a good
Take it
Monday. Nice talking with you. John was doing the polka. I made a big deal about the techno polka stuff that I was mad about earlier in the year. Even I got 574-336. You're the last two of the day coming up. Getting you both next. My brother turns to me and he goes, "You're a lot more open to this techno polka than you were a couple weeks ago. What happened?" And I'm like, when you play like this, I don't care what music it is. Fine. Even I'll get in on it. If you're going to play like this, then I don't have that complaint. I'll let you play whatever you want. 574-336. You're the final two. 574. Give me some more. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, man. Was that the best night of my life or what?
Hey, let me tell you something. We feel bad. We want to figure out who you are. So when we're on campus, if you're at the bookstore, we could come say hi.
Yeah, I'm James. I mean, I think I saw you at the bookstore, but I mean, I couldn't say anything because I was working at that time. But man, if you come any other day that's a non-game day, I'll definitely be able to talk to you. But just come up and say hi.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. And I know even my family asked, and they were like, "You have a person who calls who says they work at the bookstore. We should say hi." And I never really knew how to figure that out. So what was your take being in a unique position around Notre Dame, being kind of on the inside? What was the feel like from your perspective?
Okay, so I work at Gate D at one of the gates, and I must say, of all the crowds I dealt with the entire season, that was the best crowd by far. I mean, everyone was into the football game. It wasn't like people just showing up, hey, just to get drunk.
Yeah.
The crowd was into the game from the beginning to the end. That was the only crowd I honestly felt that.
Yeah, it was a really good vibe. It was it was just refreshing. And I can't say enough about the Clemson people. They were pleasant to me all weekend. I had no issues. I didn't see anybody that had issues. They were respectful. They were asking me, what else do we need to see? We want to make sure we see everything when we're here. Where do you recommend eating on Eddy Street? Like, these people genuinely wanted to visit Notre Dame and embrace it. They all left miserable, but they came with good intentions, and I respect that.
Oh, yeah. I've never had a trouble with any of the ACC teams except Pittsburgh. That's the only team with the ACC I've had trouble with.
Yeah, and I bet you see all of that uniquely working there, kind of who comes and goes every week and how they act. So I thought it was a very classy, respectful group, and I'm so happy for Marcus. I really wanted him to get something like this, and it really just helps further my belief that he has that it factor to get more out of this program than what we think is possible and expect. And I'm very happy for him and us.
Yeah, I mean that was the best game ever because I've never seen the students rush the field before. I mean, I don't think it's happened in my lifetime where the students completely rushed the field before.
Yeah, it was, man, it felt like the beginning of something. It did. And the more I reflect on it, the more I say that it did. It felt like a communal bonding between this program, all of our Notre Dame scar tissue, broken hearts, and gray hair, and then Marcus getting this done. It was like a coronation leading to the beginning of something. I don't know. This just felt different. Did it feel different to you? The whole weekend, it just felt different.
Oh, it felt different because once I saw that, if you've seen the interview of Marcus Freeman on TV, I swear to God, it looks like 1992 Notre Dame Penn State when they're interviewing Lou Holtz. Didn't it look the exact same way?
What, 92 Lou Holtz? So that would have been the Snow Bowl, right?
Yeah, because they were rushing the field. I've never seen a coach's interview where they rushed the field before in my lifetime on TV.
Man, it was it was magical. I saw, because the fans rushed the field, they were able to be in the tunnel. And after the game, Marcus came out and was standing at the top of that, waving to everybody. Like, this vibe is why people love college football. This energy, this vibe, this pick-me-up, this intensity, this communal feeling, we're all in this together, whether it's good or bad. Like, it's just beautiful. This is college football. This is why we love it.
I know. You never get this at any pro game. I've been to a couple of Colts and a couple of Bears games, and I'll tell you, you walk in there and you hear crickets. At a college football game, the stadium is twice as loud.
Yeah, I've always said the energy level surrounding college football is much preferred, in my opinion, to the cold corporate nature of NFL football. The play might be better, but it doesn't hit my emotions the same. It's just different. And so do you expect Notre Dame to play good the rest of the year? Take care of Navy, take care of BC, go out to LA, make us happy for Thanksgiving. Do you think that's going to happen, or are we still in the danger zone where we could drop back and have an issue?
I say we're always in the danger zone. I mean, remember what happened? I don't want to traumatize anyone, but remember what happened the week after the Florida State game. I'm just going to leave it at that. So
yeah, but let me push back on that. Let me push back on that a little. On the plus side, I do remember that. But even if that happened here, it didn't ruin your year. We weren't in the championship hunt anyways. We got 3 losses. So while that would be devastating, it wouldn't be devastating like that, because it all isn't on the line. It's just tidying things up as we move forward. So there's not as much on the line, but there's no reason at all not to get 600 yards rushing on Navy, beat BC, and then it all comes down to USC out there.
Oh, I mean, I agree. It definitely won't be as devastating, but we still got to take care of business against these last 3 opponents. It's just, you have to do what we did this week, and you have to do it the next 3 weeks, and then do the same for the bowl game, and then to start game ready for next year, we got to figure out what we're going to do against Ohio State. I mean, we got to plan a party for that Ohio State game next year. It's going to be in prime time in the biggest game ever in Notre Dame Stadium.
I'm like, I almost want to tell you, don't make me start stressing out about that already. You know, like, can I get a couple days here? Because I know that's going to be the next big ball game. Oh, well, thanks a lot for the call, and thanks for all the work you do on campus. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of people that come through there and a lot of stuff that has to be done. So thanks to everybody who works there. You guys do a really good job.
Yeah, no problem, John. Thanks for having such a great YouTube channel.
Thank you very much. There is no Always Irish YouTube channel without people like you and everybody here. So we're all in this together. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, have a good week.
You too. Take care. Always good to get the inside scoop from somebody working there. Final call of the day, 336. You're in the mix. Let's go. Maybe if I could hit the button, that'd be nice. 336. You're in the mix.
Okay. I think I'm on. I was waiting for the beep, and
yep,
it happened.
I got you now.
All right. So I'm sure you've already covered a lot of ground here. I'm the last caller on the list, so I'll say that I love the running game. They basically ran over Clemson, who's supposed to have a great defense. Like, that's the hallmark of their team. Their defensive line was supposed to be like the best in football, and Notre Dame ran them over. The defense played great. I defended Al Golden last week and feel kind of vindicated this week for that.
Yeah.
My big concern still is if we get into a situation where where Notre Dame has to throw the ball, I still have no confidence in that because we didn't see it.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Notre Dame have to throw the ball. Pine wasn't asked to do anything.
and was 9-17 for 85 yards.
I just find it impressive.
Like,
I find it impressive that he's limited. The path to victory Saturday offensively for Notre Dame was very limited, and it had to be followed pretty much exactly, and it was. It was. They followed it exactly, and that I respect. At the same time, yeah, like we're limited. Like we're limited. That's why I'm saying my excitement about this win is largely big picture, not this year. Because even if you blow out the rest of the teams, you're not playing in a bowl game anybody cares about anyways. But it's bigger picture, showing that this kind of domination is even possible at all.
And the other thing I'd like to say is, as a whole, I don't think the offense was, I know running for 200-something yards, whatever. Like, they had 2 long scoring drives as a team. Notre Dame had 2 long scoring drives because the other touchdowns were a punt block for a touchdown, Chris Colley, an interception return from Benjamin Morrison, and then Morrison's other interception was at the 15-yard line.
Yep.
So they only had to go 15 yards. It wasn't like, I still feel a little unsatisfied with the offense because I'm like,
you should.
Scored 35 points and
you should. Like, it's totally fair, though, man. It's totally fair what you're saying. You should feel unsure. The offense still isn't good enough. It's nowhere near elite. The passing game and the quarterback play is nowhere near elite. The wide receiver play nowhere near elite. All of those things you're saying are true. And I think they all make what happened Saturday night more impressive. More impressive. This wasn't getting done with the best roster ready to win, playoff made. No. That's one of the things I love best about this is there's clear limitations that Clemson knew about too, and they still couldn't stop this. That is a thing of beauty.
I will say I have said for a while, I think I even said that on your show a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, that I didn't feel that Clemson was. I felt like Clemson, they're not what they were in 2020. They're not what they were when they were in their championship run.
True.
Like, they're not that. Not like the quarterback has taken a step back. The defense isn't as good as it was before. There's things where I'm like, I think I said that on your show. They were vulnerable, but I didn't know if Notre Dame could capitalize on that vulnerability.
They certainly did in all 3 phases all night long.
And I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to say, man, what a plus hire Brian Mason was.
I'm in love with him. I want to date him. I want to date him.
Notre Dame went from like special teams is a complete non-factor and we're never going to talk about it, to every week they're like, let's go get the ball, let's attack. And I'm like, I love this. This is perfect.
Man, it's almost like if they don't block a punt, you're disappointed. It's like, oh, how did we not get that one? You just get used to it.
And I do agree with a couple callers though who said that I think Foxy got his hand on that punt that was like 20, 30 yards. I don't think it was as clear as the one that Botello got his hand on, because Botello knocked it right up straight up in the air, basically. But I think Foskey got a hand on it. Like, maybe, brushed a fingertip or something and kind of redirected the ball a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, the other thing is you're also making the other team is now sitting there so – and I wish we had an explosive punt returner for this, too. Because Brennan Joseph is good, but I don't think he has that explosiveness I would like to see.
Yeah.
They're now getting so worried about the punt block that,
Does that open up returns when they're worried about all that protection? Is that what you're thinking?
And that's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking. First off, they're rushing. Like, if you notice, Clemson after that, the next couple punts, that guy kind of rushed through his progression a little bit.
Yeah.
He was like, they're going to get the ball again if I don't speed it up. And I I could see it. The next couple punts, he was like, you could see he was kind of nervous. And I love that because teams that are watching tape, they're now all going to be getting nervous about Notre Dame's punt blocking is legit. They have the most punts blocked in college football right now. Like, they're getting nervous.
Yeah,
but
it's
special teams all of a sudden, you're not faster. If we could just pair that with a returner who could house a full punt return, that punt return unit would be.
And I think we might get there. I think you're going to get there because there's more talent coming in that's going to be able to do that. So I think that part is coming. But domination in all three phases of the game. What was your biggest takeaway overall as we wrap up this marathon edition of the Always Irish Morning Show? Biggest takeaway overall?
My biggest takeaway, and they need to be successful at this, but the running game is clearly the best unit on the offense. Like the offensive line has seemed to gel over the last couple weeks, and they're just running it down people's throats. And yeah, I love to see it. Now, if they can continue to do that against the last three opponents in the bowl game, we now get a bowl game. If they can continue to do that, these last four games, that's awesome. The one thing that makes me nervous is if somehow someone comes along that finds a way to slow down the running game and Pine has to throw it, that's where I'm nervous.
Yeah, but the issue is I just don't know if any of the next three teams are going to be able to do that. The bowl game's different depending on who it is. But I don't know if Navy, BC, or USC are even capable of totally stopping our run, even if they sell out for it, just because of the way those teams are. So we might have a good chance here.
Navy, I think their defense line is even smaller than what we faced in Syracuse last week. So,
I mean, Estime might accidentally kill half their team when he runs into them.
I mean, he shouldn't get touched for the first 7-8 yards.
Man, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Their defense linemen could all be on the play. And I'm not going to look ahead past, Navy and Boston College. I will say that one thing that would make my season for Notre Dame, and this will be the only time I'll ever say this, is if USC gets to 10-1 and we come to town and ruin their playoff hope.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame's out of the playoff hunt.
Yep. It's the next best thing you could do is ruin their life. Yep.
Oh, I would love to them be all high on their horse. Like we're gonna win this game. We're gonna win the Pac-12 and we're gonna go to the playoffs.
Nope.
Then Notre Dame comes out and gets back to the ground. That would be my favorite thing for the year at this point because Notre Dame's will go out the windows, but USC's aren't, and I hate USC.
Yeah.
I hate them. I want to ruin their. So if they're sitting there at 10-1 and they're all cocky after beating UCLA, and then Notre Dame comes down and beats them, I just be like, yes, that's perfect. I don't want. I cheer for USC to go, 0-12, but I might have to make an exception for this year of get to 10-1 so we can smack you down. So Notre Dame can be the team that smacks you down. I want Notre Dame to do it.
Yep. Nope. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. So
we haven't had to ruin their season in a long time. So
yeah, it'll be nice.
I would love. And they tried to ruin Notre Dame's season in the I think 2018 or 2012 when we went to the championship game and Alabama finished that job off, but USC tried there, and they tried in 18 and 20 when Notre Dame went to the playoffs. Like we had close games, tight games against them. Notre Dame probably came into the game like this is the last stop before the playoffs, and don't screw it up. But we played close, tight games against them.
I don't know, man.
So
it's going to be exciting, and I hope we just keep playing good the next couple of weeks, trending straight up, all the momentum against USC, run the ball on them, and just dominate. That's it.
let's start off by plowing through Navy's tiny defensive line.
There you go. That's going to be the plan. Oh, all right, my friend. I gotta get running here. We've gone over 40 minutes, so I'm running late. Got some things I need to do, but thanks for the call. Give me a call again if you would like on Wednesday.
All right, sounds good.
Have a good one. Thanks, man. Enjoy your week. Oh, boy. What a full morning, folks. What a full and fulfilling morning. I'm glad everybody was here. That is the fullest bank of callers we've ever had. I'm sorry if I didn't give somebody enough time or gave somebody too much time. I was doing the best I can, but I did find a way to get through everybody that did call and stayed on there. All of the chats, thanks for being here. All of the donations, One Sock Billy, $100. I appreciate it. There is no show without people like that. And it really, really, that level of support really means a lot to me. So stay tuned. Irish Wire, a lot of content. Me all week, a lot of content. I'm getting off here and recording 2 more shows I'll put out later. Some short videos, articles for Irish Wire. We got it all hooked up. We're hitting it while it's hot. All right? Thanks for being here, guys. We're trending up. Let's do it. Have a good day.